Now, I just recorded an earlier segment earlier today. Now it's Saturday night, whatever it is, the 13th or so of September. Now, let me make a recap of basically the light summary of first what took place between my mom and I between mid-August or so. Actually, this started as far as maybe late July through mid-August, meeting with my mom and I in Prospect Park for the first time in over 2 years, and then the follow-up parts and story leading up to where we have now. Okay, up until today, in about the middle of September now, my mom and I only met in person 3 times in this summer since the 2 years ago when we last met, when Anthony was the moral witness and we were trying these meetings and it didn't get anywhere. I say because of my mom, and Anthony agrees largely. Now, firstly, you recall historically, fact-wise, as far back as mid-ish 2024 to mid-late 2024, we've had the most interesting kind of public rumblings about who potentially may be the Mashiach. Wow, that's crazy. That all fell squarely on my shoulders. Wowza, what a crazy thing. Okay, so meanwhile, while various portions of people were hoping that the person in my position would be coming out and announcing myself, there's video clips on YouTube. Will Mashiach be announcing himself on Facebook or TikTok? Where, come on, hurry, announce himself. And others putting out also, and kind of almost as if by hint, like Mashiach, it's time to declare yourself. Literally titling the video that, but that's a little bit of a double nuance for various reasons on that one. I didn't do any of that. Oh well. People wonder why. People then come to their own conclusions, many of them after several more months. Many of us now feel maybe he's not the guy. We're not sure. Or we're looking for excuses to see if it could be the opposite, that he's not. Oh, maybe he's not. Some still think, some still don't think, and now it's this mix. What an interesting time. Maybe there's a reason it's all happening this way. Now, nobody in their right mind and in the right soul frame wants to be anything that they're not. But regardless, what we are always doing either way, as much as we can be, as much as we can figure how to be, is to be in attunement with God so that we're doing what? So that we're doing God's will. That's unitary. That's a unitary track. That shit's all kind of gone down according to God's will, despite the seeming confusion about all of that. Whatever. We've got plenty of time. So just chill. More in other places and other segments or videos or whatever. For now, let's continue here. I actually kept this as information from my mom for about a year. I was making videos on my channel. I was thinking, gosh, if my own mother, who knows my channel, actually cares in a whole year to look at my own. If you had your only son, you'd be looking at his channel to see what he's posting. You'd be his favorite fan, his biggest subscriber on his channel, right? What the fuck? Nothing. For a year, nothing. No, attunement in. Every video I'm posting is almost about that. Whoa, you would have enough resonance to think, oh, wait, what's going on here? There's a little bit of a passive test. So for a year, I'm realizing, okay, Mashiach, I'm not hardly going to raise that, or maybe a little bit. I think I tried once to put it in a few videos, or one of the videos. Nothing. It just flies over her head. This is really terrible. So whatever. Nobody has to be Mashiach to be treated decently. I'm here as the human being. I have right enough to condemn you that you're not treating me, the human being, the ordinary person in your son's shoes. You're treating him wrong, you're guilty just the same. So then, we continue. We then, after finally about a year, somehow it comes up, the subject matter of Judaism and being Jewish and all this, right? And despite what my grandparents may have and certainly did know and did subtly signal and have. Resuming recording now on what I think might be the worst phone I've ever had. I mean, there's literally, this is the worst. You would think if you go more into the future, you'd have better designed phones. It's the opposite. Motorola 2025 Moto G phone. Hey, I'm having a terrible time with this, and I don't think I'm the only one. There's at least like 5-7 different substantially wrong things that are bugging me out as a user. Samsung phones are fine, and this is weird. Whatever. Okay. So, eventually the subject of Jewishness came up. My mother was saying, you know, I don't know, are we Jewish? Are we not Jewish? It was this open question. There's actually further videos, very interestingly. Let me link right now for just a moment because it's important enough. Here on this video I posted about 3 weeks ago. Is he even actually Jewish? This Mashiach or Mashiach ben Yosef that they figure. So in here we did a deeper AI analysis, and we found, after assessing all the deep patternings, finding that the specific towns that my family came from are like the most Jewish towns in all of Eastern Europe, and all this and that, and all these other many factors. The AI here announced and said it is at least 60 to 80 to 100 times more likely that you are Jewish up your mother's line than that you are not, given all these deep data points intercrossed and probabilistically weighed. Fantastic stuff, and I recommend anyone interested check out this particular video here. Well, let's go back. Okay, so eventually that opens the door to start having me kind of laying like, all right, well, now that this subject somehow has come up like this, might as well be, and now that it's more than a year about, maybe it's a good time. I said, look, there's a bunch of information that you're not aware of. Let me just bring this to your attention so that you can get it. I show her one round of videos, and then she's kind of like, huh? And then I show her another round of videos. All this takes a number of weeks for her to complete. And regardless, eventually she completed, and by about 1 or 2 rounds of videos later, she writes back finally saying, oh my God, like, this is incredible. If it's true that you have some kind of special mission here, we need to do everything possible and get our shit together and straighten that in order. Basically paraphrasing what she wrote in an email to me that came in around maybe late July, early August, something like this. We need to get our stuff together. And I said, that's right. Finally. And you have no idea how much bullshit I've been dealing with, but still keeping my mouth largely shut for a number of reasons. And finally I said, now's going to be the season of opening up the mouth, that we can talk and reveal all the things that need to be revealed. Very important, layer by layer. So then this all led up to our agreeing to meet. Okay, now for a while my mother was petitioning that we should meet, and that we should meet without even the witness. Based on the pure merit, I'd say, Mom, we're in such deep problems because of what you did that I ordinarily wouldn't even trust to meet you, and not without a witness, and not until you're explicitly sorry for making it, refusing to meet with us, with me and Anthony, back when we had every moral right to do so, and you were giving us a hard time. Okay? But after a year of this and her going, nah, I don't care about that stuff, just meet me anyway, super basically speaking, then we said, okay, now that there's this new Mashiach, Messiah topic on the table, this makes the whole situation now change. And based on the merit of that, I say, now for this, you see it's like, you know, super hypergraph legality in the fifth dimensional sphere kind of weighed out. So it means that now, because you know of what's going on more, on the merit of that covers you, that we should meet. Because if we meet, but because of our meeting, I end up regretting this for any reason, because of your fucking moral off calibration, eventually, because of the chain of things that happened because I allowed this meeting to even happen in the first place, and that's exactly what happened. You see the problem? Then you're even more guilty than you would have been from the previous thing, and from the previous thing even if you had gone whatever imaginable, because you did it now knowing that this is what's happening on top of that with this Mashiach business. See? And that's inherent in the structure. I don't even have to explicitly spell that out. That's true whether or not I sing this clearly. And with the way my mom is, seemingly, you could sing it as clearly as you want. She's still not going to get it, it seems. We continue. This all leads to our meeting in August. Now, as a side note, I have actually purposely avoided making much mention of this in videos because the particular people and persons who have been involved in something very interesting, these are actually people that were known to me since I was very young. Somebody was like almost a little brother to me, really was, for all of our growing up, basically, in some sense. Tremendous thing to consider. And then really, wow, the horrifying, disgusting fucking betrayal implicit and sewn into the reality of what has happened by the choices that some of these people have made. Very sad stuff. But I gave, because of the nature and the past relationships and knowing who these people were and who the guy in particular happened to be, I wanted to give the largest grace possible that of any human that can have this level of patience and give this level of grace that's not outright going beyond human to become supernatural patience. Okay? I gave this level of patience. Okay? So what that looks like is a big free ride for some interesting individuals that have been doing some kind of fucked up shit against, you can't make this up, against the guy who they're saying might actually genuinely be the Messiah. Whoa. Very interesting backstory. Maybe more might be told about this soon, and I think it's about time. So, but whatever. Anyway, while this has been going on, I actually have told virtually no people about this, largely just to observe it and see how it's going to ride out, and to give the people an opportunity to quit while you're ahead in all this too. Very important. Very interestingly, they don't. Very interestingly, they don't. So if you break the right, if you break grace, you have to get the hardest justice. Everybody knows the cycle. And how to merit it as the justice giver is that, well, first we gave him all the grace in the world. It didn't work. It didn't work. It's tragic. Okay. Continuing on with this information in mind regarding people and events involving trespassing into my home, and not by my mother, who's technically seemingly guilty of this as well. Apparently, I mean, not seemingly. But I'm talking about others and those who are doing it in a much more malicious way. This has actually been going on for a long time, a number of months, even years. Would you believe that? Wow. Now, we've discussed, I ended up discussing more details around this with my mom, with Naomi a little bit, tiny bit. But now it's time to start farming out the details way bigger en masse. Farming them out like a factory output. We'll be getting a lot of more understanding installed into what's going on. For now, continuing. So I figured that there's going to be a number of things that I'll be conveying to my mom as a personal private meeting, number one. To sit with her once we would meet in Prospect Park by the corner for the first time in 2 years. Given my understanding of who that figure was in my life that was involved in not so good stuff, and the potential abuses of power that this person may have been engaging in, as is seemingly very apparent, I had every cause to believe that this person seemingly, likely, yes, they did. They were looking in on the informationality, what was going on between my mom and I, keeping up, using databases. You're going to go use these things, find out what they're saying to each other, overriding, go to texts or emails, and get live update. And now they're going to meet, and you're going to make it your business, and you're going to be physically coming out and making it your business. Holy shit, who is this person? Some kind of crazy stalker? Well, roughly something like that, basically, yeah, is what you could basically boil it down to being, essentially. Whoa, horrifying. Would you believe it? That's right. We're gonna get more into it now, because this figure, this person, I think they've worn out in good faith, all the grace I could summon for this poor, confused person. None of it could help. All the tacit warnings, all the patience, all the good faith and grace, nothing. It didn't matter. And it's always the most tragic when it's like that. That's the most fucking sad and tragic. It becomes the most sad and tragic when the person in my position ultimately acknowledges this, but then runs out of the capacity to even see it as tragic and all this. So, obviously, as multiple people and much of the world is aware of, and especially much of New York, and also around internationally, I couldn't go to DC 2 years ago without being recognized everywhere on the street. I'm a fucking half famous public figure, semi-public figure at the most lowest, if you could say, but I'm essentially sort of that. Okay, for obviously somewhat controversial reputation. I'm what you could call notorious or infamous, largely, yet not purely so strictly one-sided. That is to say differently, if you really think about it, and this is quite a high honor. So if you think about who the most polarizing figures are that are alive on this planet Earth, specifically in the United States, you would easily bring to mind, like Donald Trump, easily is the most polarizing figure alive. Elon Musk quickly rode up to be also with high polarization. That wasn't always true about Elon, though. Elon was a straight up regarded guy all over, but then whatever happened with perception. It's not necessarily even reality, you understand that, but perception changes. And continuing again, this is a real problem phone. I've never seen a phone where you click the screen record and then you can't even talk live into it without it shutting itself down whenever it feels like. Come on, there's like 6, 8 different fucking things wrong with it, each of which would be a deal breaker largely for someone who would have insisted on something much better. Okay. So like we were saying, Donald Trump is obviously the most polarizing figure. Elon Musk is up there. Maybe 1 or 2 more people that are within the public or semi-public broad range of people who we have awareness of. You see? I don't know who they might be. Okay? So I think pretty safely by this point, what I can say is that I myself have become easily one of the top 3 to 5 polarizing figures of the highest amount of polarization alive in the United States right now. Okay? You're listening to him. Right? That's saying a lot. Polarizing because on the one hand you have the detractors, and on the other hand you have people who are truly in awe and are amazing supporters. I see them all over the place. Okay? If you know the inside story, and you know at least a part or even half the deal, although interestingly the information about me is so decentralized, it seems that for people who are in the know, there's so much in the know, and then if you're not in the know, you can't even try to find out about me, and you can't even Google my name. It won't appear with anything significant in connection to it. Yet if you know on whatever the veins are on social media, then it's like a whole world of a universe of a thing is self-contained. Wow, so extreme, so crazy. This is how God ordained it. I've been this public figure since 2021 or so. Then continuing, this all leads up to 2024. And what happened in 2024, everybody suddenly put something together. Whatever it is, I don't even pay close attention or have the key things on what it is. I largely just read the room, read the crowd, as they say, and figure much, and then see the things online, and it corresponds, and we put it together. But we know what's happening. As of about a little over a year ago, it blew up. That's that Polish guy. That's the Messiah. I actually got confirmation of this. This is the first time I'm exposing this part out loud, like in a public, even semi-public or posted recording or whatever like this. There's 2 or 3 separate routes that I found this out, each of them in parallel, kind of independently, but when put together, it's like all self-reinforcing. Best way to collect information, right? We're discussing some of that kind of thing too in another thing. But anyway, so obviously my public nickname for the last few years has been Spider-Man, among many other nicknames. They call me Charlie Sheen. They call me Psycho Sid. They call me, oh my God, it never ends, right? They call me a whole bunch of other things too. Right, but Spider-Man is one of my more main classical nicknames that I collected and picked up, and probably one of my oldest ones. So, interestingly, they rebooted the comic book for Spider-Man in 2024, and they made it to be like a guy who's got like in his 30s, like a total twist on the Peter Parker lore, if you know the Spider-Man comic story and all that, right? But with knowledge and awareness of who the real-life famous quote-unquote Spider-Man was in New York, they then reboot their comic, put this figure with a beard there, and it's interesting. I'm not going to go outright and say they're definitely making it off of me, but I say let's just keep it simple and a little excessively naive slightly. We'll say that does just look a lot like me, correspond to me, such that it's the kind of thing where anybody were to look at that, look at the publication, be aware of what the whole thing is about my story, and then see that in the face of that, they'd be standing in like the middle of New York looking at that and go, huh, yeah, that's funny, that comic book, and that's that guy, that Polish guy. I get it, right. Well, I'm telling you this just flat out. So here's what I did as a test, because I wanted to see what the public, what's going on. So I took this screenshot, okay, of the comic creators' work from 2024, just showing the new animation. So it's featuring Spider-Man, but it's got his mask off, and it's this new animation. He's got the beard, it's more muscular, it's this whole gruff thing, right? And I just take that and I post it online on Craigslist, and I just put whatever very light description, you know, basically like, hey, like, who is this, just to test and fish out, okay? Out of the whole public who saw that, it was enough of a frequency that I got 2 or 3 people to actually respond fully that weekend when I had that posting up, and then I took it down or whatever, or it just expired or nothing else came. Both of the responses seem to come from New Yorker Jewish people who were not Orthodox, but who were Jewish, secular, but eventually you go up the family line. All your ancestors were Orthodox, Hasidic Jewish, or whatever. You get the deal? So there's obviously a belonging and all that. And you keep up with the news. If you happen to keep up with the news, that affects that proportion of whatever. So it's interesting to see where this news spreads. I got the email back simply from the man's own mouth, and he ended up describing himself a little bit. Yeah, I'm you know, I grew up in Williamsburg, and you know, my like ancestors were like, you know, Hasidic, Orthodox, Jewish, and all this, right? That's what he wrote later in the email. What he wrote in the entering part of the email is a confirmation of the news. It's the confirmation of the fact of what's happening, what people are saying. Get it? It's the news about what people are saying. The man wrote back saying, just looking at a Spider-Man comic book cartoon as re-rendered, newly drawn. And he says, yeah. His response, because it was like a sort of query posting, so he comes in with his reaction and answer, right? He says, yeah, that guy, that's that Polish guy in New York. That's that Polish guy who is the Messiah. You can't make this up. Then the rest of the email was to further describe his own, and I'm just this guy, or whatever. Okay? Very interesting information. Wow. The Polish guy, the crazy seeming Polish guy of New York is the Messiah now, huh? But of course, between you and I and the private talking here, I knew this was going to happen. It was told to me a year before that this was the deal, and that I was to not make any campaign about this in a big way in the public, but to keep this largely, almost essentially entirely to myself, and to simply find out about it. And it was promised to me that as I would research and find out, that it would be shown that everything in the prophetic writings would match truths about myself. Unbelievable. Then, a year later, I'm walking around, there's like black dudes going like, yo, Mashiach! And I'm like, I didn't react like openly, but I'm like, how the fucking hell is that even possible? Who told I don't talk about this to nobody, unless fucking, then there's all sorts of explanations as to what else could be going down, or other people speculate. But wow, did that catch fire, because that was maybe in April of 2024. It took maybe 2, 3, 4 more months before I bet you intelligence agencies were pattern recognizing and writing on it. And by August, September, half the Jewish community that was in the know was going apeshit about it. As you could see the ripple effects online. Oh my God. And indeed, and I got the confirmation, just without saying anything, not mentioning anything Polish or whatever. Just, that's the Polish guy who's the Messiah. Oh shit. Wow, God, you weren't playing around. This really is happening. What the hell? Oh, what the fuck? I mean, how do you... People, go back to that Matrix scene where Cypher's talking to Neo about like, man, what a mind job that is for what Morpheus is trying to just tell you. It's like that. You can't describe what that feeling is. And there's those of you who find yourselves also to be potential Mashiachs out there in the world. On YouTube, there's just a number of you, right? And the rabbis say there's an even larger number. We get emails like this all the time, they say. But when half the world that's relevant, those irrelevant, and in those energetics and everything starts finding you about and talking about you like that, it's, oh, wow. And then knowing, yeah, this is exactly what I was told and shown beforehand. Oh, God. Even the craziest of prophecies come true. Nothing escapes what I feel it will be true and guaranteed. Essentially happens every time. Wow. Basically, right? Pretty almost. And that almost is some of the contentious part. Wait a minute. Let's go dig in and see if any tiny part of what he ever said is even slightly half off. All right. We'll have fun with that too. And it actually is important to analyze for the sake of determining morality. That's the hidden dimension, and we'll get more on that as to why and what that means. So continuing, this is not a hallucinogenic fucking schizophrenic dream. It's literally happening. Probably, 40% of the people I passed shoulder to shoulder on the street around me tonight recognizes me and has heard about, and maybe 30% of those have heard about the Mashiach-God connection. Actually, it's increasing recently. Okay, it took the Hispanic population a little longer to get informed, interestingly, and I was wondering what took them so long. The blacks all know, right? And then, ironically, some Jewish people don't know. Very interesting, but whatever, right? I mean, I was walking by a couple guys, they literally were like, "That is a man." That was the first thing I heard from one of them. There's two of them talking to each other, like perched there like pigeons. That is a man, but like clearly looking at me and responding to me as I walk by. So my ears perk up as I'm walking by. I don't really react, but I'm listening. And then they're both watching me as I walk by. And then the other one goes back to the first one. Yeah, they say that he is a god. what the hell? And that was about in August of 2024. And then all the other videos and the signalings and all this. So, hey, whether or not it's actually true is its own thing and a little interdependent or whatever, somewhat relevant eventually. God knows, and we'll bring it out the way, this keeps getting cut off. We're having the same technical difficulties, truly I'm saying this in 2025. This is technical difficulties with this phone. Anyway, whatever I was going on about. So the point is, this is obviously just what I'm living in, okay? And does it make sense to me that it should be as is going down? Well, if I stepped out of myself and looked at it at a third-person view, but with knowledge of everything I understand, yeah, I could see how it's somewhat, at least, very arguable. Even close to very strongly arguable. Somewhere around there. Why? The large number of reasons. This is easier to go into with AI and have AI give the output than it would be to just have a whole talk about this now. But it gets very deep. We'll continue another time, another place. For now, let's talk about the story, what's going on with my mom and I. A year later, she gets clued in by me. Now she's, oh boy, my son's the Messiah, and all this stuff. And keep in mind, at no point do I explicitly go like, yeah, like I hear the voices, I'm the one. Like, we have to tell everybody more, I'm the one. Okay, even where more recently, they sort of slowly started to correct back down. I use the word correct, not because it's correct, but because it's a correction from a stock price rises, then you get what's called a correction, even if it's not the way you want it to go, or all that, whatever, right? So it recorrects, line-wise, price-wise, down a certain way. Now, who knows what? We're in the who knows what zone now. Probably where it is meant to be at this point for now, until the next big phase and catalyzing thing. Here's my obsession since I woke up from that coma in 2016. And it's almost corny to say this, but I'll use this word. I'm actually excited to see that the Jewish tradition is the only one that understands the importance of this in the precise degree and nature that it does. It's literally morality. It's morality. And not in the overly kind of clunky, not so understood way. There's words like dignity, honor, morality that aren't intrinsically understood, sadly to say, by many people. So, in almost an over clunky way, you could consider and say, in the English language, when you use the word moral, you say, oh, what are your morals? Do you have your morals? It sounds kind of like, who the fuck knows what that means? Or like, where does this have traction in the real nitty gritty of my grounded everyday? But it does. It does. It is literally everything. And in fact, it actually is. But what's surprising is that people can't see it. Maybe I couldn't largely see it until I woke up from that research chemical-induced coma in 2016. Then that changed my life forever. Opened up my mind. Once this happened, I really could see everything. I remember the first indignation I experienced in my post-awakening state was from my mother, interestingly, who visited me after post-coma awakening. Maybe I'll get into that story another time. But for now, let's see what changes. We moved on to 2025. Last time I saw my mom was 2 summers prior, August of 2023, in a meeting in our neighborhood with Anthony as a third-party mediary, friend of mine, intermediary. That was the last meeting we had before the following meeting scheduled was canceled, or just abruptly she declined to participate, started barking around orders at us where we needed to go, what we needed to do. Anthony's like, what the fuck is this shit? Fuck this lady. And I was like, yeah, wow, what the hell? So, goddamn. So that led to 2 years of not meeting because everybody's offended. Everybody's like, no, this is bullshit. You keep treating us like shit. We're not putting up with this. So 2 years of seeing your son physically, that's the cost. That's the price you have to pay. Then, and it would have kept going for another 10 years if I had to. And it probably would have been that way, given what her nature actually seems to be even now. But we go back and say that now, okay, but because of this whole turn of events and everything, we then go to give her that another chance to say, now, please show under these circumstances that you're not a monster. Please. We'll be watching now, August, September, and it took a couple weeks for the real truth to come out about my mom's nature as I hold it and show it to be. Okay? So the story is going to be given here. It's as plain as this. She shows up to the park. Hey, look, mother and son haven't seen each other for a couple years, and now there are these interesting turn of events. She gives me a hug. She gets off the phone. Who are you on the phone with? She says, oh, Marek, her boyfriend, who at that time, for the last few months, he hasn't even been home in Brooklyn. She's just been alone upstairs in the apartment, you see. And Marek's gone. He's in Poland. Huh, so interesting. So, and yet there she is, like on the phone, right up to the moment that her son walks up to her. So that's also very interesting. And we can uncover more of the dynamics, why that's going on like that. Why it seems that no matter what, there's always this certain kind of energetics and treatment that always comes to be given towards me from people around me. Not everybody, but a significant portion of people I end up coming into contact with have the specific vibratory reaction to me. Not everybody, and the whole rest of everybody's great. You see? We continue. So she meets me. Now the conversation, this is our first meeting of the 3 meetings I told you we had up until now. It's mid-September, so say we had 3 meetings in the last month. There were 2 on that one week. It was a Sunday, the first meeting in Prospect Park. A couple days later, she came to my house. And during that meeting, she ended up being what I described in 2 videos where AI analyzes a situation that I have on my channel, described how she was being, which got me to eventually kick her out of my house that evening because I was having enough of her disrespect as I saw it. Okay? And then the 3rd meeting was at a public Whole Foods where there was renewed continuing problems that I was describing to her. And instead of taking those problems seriously and giving the only thing morally owed, which is immediate, to go and say, oh my God, like, we're going to do whatever we can to sort this out, there was, in essence, a betrayal energy at the heart, which is this it shows up, it manifests as this neglect, non-caring, I got shopping to do, I'm gonna run some errands, like treating you like what you're saying is not fucking important. It's the same shit. Like I came up to my mom once, oh God, I tore my fucking side, my muscle, what the hell? Oh, so what are you doing some stupid exercises for? Oh, no, wrong answer, fucking stupid. The fuck? I'm not wrong to be mad and upset about this to this level. You see, and that's the key morality dimension. By the way, whenever a woman's trying to tell you what's correct, what's not correct, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense within a given context, that's a woman often miscalibrated off of the ideal line. Not always, but often, and I also argue more often than men into larger magnitudes. It's true, that's just naturally true. We don't want it to be. And there's a flip side that it's believed prophetically that once this is overcome and reversed, women actually have the higher potentiality to be even more closer to God or godlike. Really. You see? Because their nature is to fall further into confusion, but in rectification, their rectification is higher. And I understand the substantive hint or what about that is true or why. But we almost never see it in existence today on Earth. You see? So there's a new woman type of the future that is actually going to be like God, because she is more exalted, and she will be in a kind of way more holy because of her status and nature, so to speak. That's very basically put. But almost no woman comes up to that today, but they all think they are that, but they're not. So, but the sickness is they're more inverted, they're more lower. As all of you, sorry to say, but it is. See? So we continue. So that's why until that point, man is the shepherd. So you have to understand that. Very important. You go to man to get shepherded properly. Don't ever dream you are the shepherd. Wow. Unless you want to kill us all faster. Then we listen to women. Wow. If we all want to die sooner and be more angry on the way to death. What the fuck? Trust me, I know it's true. Basically to say, enough for now on that. So, we meet in the park, and she says, first thing, you know what's crazy? I thought about this, and I've watched 3 sets of videos that you numbered. Set 1 with a few videos, several videos, set 2 with several or so videos, and then set 3 with even more videos. She says, I watched all 3 sets now. And I said, good, there's going to be a set 4, which is going to be sent to you. Watch set 4 also. But if you've watched up till set 3 and including set 3 finished, that's amazing. She said, yeah, I have seen all that, and I just got to tell you this. I said, what is it? She says, I almost recorded it, but then it didn't end up happening. She said, there was a dream I had where some woman or angel or something like this came to me and told me you were going to be really special. You were going to be somebody like that I'm mother to someone who's a son. It's going to be a male, which I didn't know yet at the time, but I was told by the woman it was a male, and that this male would be the special one, the archetype, but without getting specific. So she just knew there'd be a certain kind of speciality attached to my existence. Firstly. Secondly, this story I didn't hear ever until she told it to me right on that day as we met right by Prostitute Park. She said, oh, and also, there was one day where I was sitting or whatever, I was wherever with your father, my father, Jeffrey, and she said, I was with him, and all of a sudden, it felt like there was some spiritual, cosmic, God, or whatever, lightning bolt shooting down, like lightning bolt energy coming down into the room or wherever where we were sitting. And I was there, and I thought, she'll know, I don't know if she was sitting or standing, but she just said where I was, and I was right with him. And she said, I felt this energy, and it was like surreal, supernatural, crazy stuff happening right where we were, right when I was pregnant with you at the time. And it was like supernatural. And I was like, what the hell is this? And she said, and then not only I was feeling this, but she's talking to me, my son, let me tell you, your father in the room also felt the same thing. And even he also at the same time was like, wow, what is that? Oh my God, I feel that. What's happening? Who is that? What is that? And she said, I never experienced anything like this in my life. And that probably never since then, never before then. And certainly not my father. And he was not particularly spiritually inclined that he should be prophetically or spiritually feeling the interactive energies of the trans-dimensional influences and energetics. You see, just like a regular guy, mostly speaking. But no, he was, according to her, she said, and he was like, what the hell is that, Bosh? You know, my mom, Basha. So, you know, my mom said, that's very important information that I never told you, that now that you're telling me this story about what's happening in the world now, apparently, seemingly, she says, not only, I wouldn't have consciously ever thought to sit here and presume that this could be you. But now that you're saying all of this, there is some subconscious affinity that, like, some inner knowing within me agrees that this does feel right. Like, it does seem to make sense. Probably that's what caught much of the world substantively. Something about it just seemed to make sense, that it caught wildfire. And she says, yeah, I never would have figured it consciously on my own, but when you show it to me first, then it's like, oh, it's like I knew the thing I, you know, never realized I forgot that I once remembered, you know? Like one of those weird things. And I'm like, yeah, huh. And she said, yeah, that and then that lightning bolt thing. It's interesting because they describe various aspects of that which is associated with Mashiach, especially Mashiach ben Yosef energy and his soul or soul roots, as being aspects which are cast down from heaven like lightning. That one will come down like a thunderbolt from heaven, like lightning will come down, that figure. Very interesting. And she used the words, that terminology of lightning with the energy, just naturally, instinctively. So we ended up talking a little bit more, okay? Then while I'm sitting there in one area, all of a sudden I hear something, because I'm pretty much hyper vigilant, but like as a default, I've been this way since the coma, right? So I just perceive what's going on. It's kind of frustrating talking to people who don't, because then you're one of the, you have to believe me. If you don't, too bad. But you don't have much of a choice beyond that. So I'm sitting there, and then I perceive, I'll leave off what it is that I perceive, but there's going to be a lot more stories coming soon where everything's going to be explained what's going on. It's crazy. And it's going to be a tell-all soon. Yeah, continuing. I heard kind of signs from the environment, we'll say. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah, I bet you somebody named Michael might be fucking hanging around real close with their fucking nose in our shit. Okay, so then I kind of said to my mom all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, let's get up and go for a walk a little different, and we're gonna do something a little different now, and then I'll tell you some more serious things, because now that I'm reminded, yeah, I might not have even gone there so much if I wasn't reminded, but now that I'm reminded of how active and pertinent of a thing this is as a factor of the going-ons, then this is very relevant to what's going on. So then I brought her to a different area, and then I had a more in-depth conversation, like, all right, and by the way, you know, etc., etc. I'm a person of interest, we'll put it that way, and there's different ways to put that, but that should be obvious by the stuff you're seeing in the videos anyway. So if you're picking up on that, that's good, and I've included as a courtesy bits of things that are, you know, sort of whatever. It's there, and then you need to hear a little more from me, and then it all plugs in. It's like, okay. Without mentioning Michael's name, I started talking about Michael. But I didn't mention his name. So to my mom, it was like, she's very naive. So she'll be listening. Oh, okay. Oh, who's that? Oh. And I'm thinking, like, stupid, it's Michael. I'm going to tell you in a moment or soon enough. But this is amazing if she doesn't have any clue yet. I'm like, you know, what do you think is going on here? Okay. So then, after the meeting, she's had a few hours of this. She's like, wow, this is a lot to download informationally from you today. This is so fascinating. Hey, maybe this isn't a real situation in which to act morally. It's another telenovela that she gets to live in. She keeps saying to me over and over again, wow, this is so fascinating, it's so interesting that's happening. It's so interesting. No, it's not interesting. That's the worst word you could, or whatever other, like, similar kinds of words. Oh, fascinating. It's not fascinating. Don't muse at it. It's fucking a serious situation. Respond to it properly. You need to respond to it. You're going to see that as I describe the story, we're going to continue seeing from her is a lack of a sufficient normal human response to what's happening. You're going to see a story of a woman who just keeps believing herself, her own twisted perception, as I put it. Seemingly so, apparently so, I would say. So then, the first day goes largely fine. All right, we continue walking down. We thought we were going to go into the city, but you know how people are sometimes. So she says, oh, maybe I'm just going to go home now, actually. Oh, okay, you sure? Why don't you go? No, I'm going to go home. Okay, so then we spend about 5 more minutes. She brings on her phone. She's turning on her phone. Okay, all of a sudden there's some phone calls coming in. Okay, she's looking all puzzled. Okay, then we suddenly go, oh, let's sit down there at that park. We just randomly turn in there. We weren't going to plan to turn in there, but we just randomly turned in there. Okay, now we're off of the road even. No one's seeing us. If you can't really see us unless you're, like, especially looking out for us, or you're extremely nosy into everyone's business or whatever. No. Here's what happens next. I'm sitting there a couple minutes with her maybe. All of a sudden, look who it is who comes up to us. Michael. Fucking Michael. Comes up to us, making a beeline towards us, right, while he's walking his bike. So apparently oh, that's interesting. And he was on his bicycle, right? Now that he has this and he's walking, already you can see, like, yeah, he's walking up to us, comes up to us, and then he just begins to enact in this performative manner, one of the most unusual things I've ever seen in my life, actually. And more contextual storytelling will show and clarify why that is, what's unusual, and in fact, what is this background story with Michael. It is important now, and growingly important, unfortunately, that we have to even acknowledge that and now make this a soon-to-be a side thing, but really it's somewhat important because it needs its due treatment. with all this. And there's a few parts I know about something that I'm not saying yet, but it'll be said real soon. And then that's going to be the real shocker. And no, magically trying to precast me as a schizophrenic isn't going to save anybody from the impact of the true thing I'm going to be telling regarding what seems to have been happening recently. Okay? So in light, in context, everything will be clear so that evil people's evil nature will be shown for the evil that it is. Called selfish nature, not regarding what you're supposed to do unto God for love of God, love of humanity. Love the people. Continuing. Michael's there, and he starts saying to me, very bold, looking right at me, something that this man didn't have the courage to do whenever I'd bump into him an extremely unusually high number of times within a short period of time. Again, we'll dissect and analyze all the circumstances regarding this soon. I've been largely over permissive almost to just kind of say, well, give him all the slack in the world because of our pre-relationship, and like hope to God that please don't be stupid enough to burn all the credit in the universe to be given here to you. Please don't do it. It's gonna be the most tragic story in the world. Okay? It's gonna be more tragic than the betrayals of fucking various Tiberius Caesars from the people that were coming around him and the Roman histories and stories. Stop it. No, he wouldn't stop it. Please, I'll give you a fat load of time to really renew and grow and evolve a little bit. Take a mad time. No, nothing. God help us, you can't change. People don't change. My mom didn't change much. This is how it is with people who exhibit very seemingly or apparently strongly narcissistic cluster B programming. Help us, God. That's Amalek, essentially in disguise. That's the one who we are here to destroy, who are not those who have the capacity to repent. Please find your fucking capacity to actually make tshuva and repentance. Help you all, God. So now my mom's sitting there like, and I'm aware of things that my mom isn't even strictly openly aware that I'm aware, although I've hinted at her several times in her face, and she wants to pretend like she half understands but doesn't quite understand. You know how women are. This is going to be only more embarrassing for her, naturally, because of the decision she made, because of how she's trying to act with all of it. But you can't hide from the impact of the effects of what? Reality. Reality. Okay, and that should be enough of a hint. But I'm not going to discuss more for now until it becomes time that it's just flatly said and discussed and there's nowhere for anybody to run. So he comes up to us, and of all the things he's been guilty of doing recently, where every time I'd see him, he wouldn't even look at me, right? Now, when he knows I'm meeting with my mom, all of a sudden on that day in life, he actually takes his time and his energy and makes a huge investment of his time and his energy to do what? How is it that he's sticking his nose in this business? All of a sudden, we walked out of Prospect Park and entered into this other little park that's a couple blocks away. Again, it's like being tailed, the bike, walking up to us. No, listen, here's his biggest dedication. He just wants to cast this effect onto the situation. He says, I just want to say this to you in front of your mom. I'm saying this in front of your mom here. She was sitting next to me, and my mom was just looking like a stunned spectator, like, huh? He says, just want to say this, okay? And then he gets into the most awkward pseudo-fake victim positioning possible, where it's like the snake with crocodile tears. Just with worst acting I've ever seen in my life, because I'm not guilty against him in actuality. If you compare the net cross energetics and effects of what people have been doing, or people are actually guilty of in God's vision, in reality, across to each other, I'm telling you, Michael's extremely guilty of be doing some fucked up shit. And now, because he's also engaged in trying to cast and say things, possibly even, it seems, writing things as well somewhere, with some other things and whatever else, Now you want to try to invert something. It's a senseless inversion, so that the person you're trying to mess with or fuck with, then you come up to them at the same time, the other side of your face, and you go, hey. You know, it just I recall something. I love my father all the way to the end when he passed. It's also true that during the last maybe year of his life, the medications he was on really affected him differently. He got a new personality that I never saw before. And you could tell it was all his over-medicated psycho brain that was just over-medicated. So it made a different dysfunction. It was kind of worse than the old dad I had that was actually the real dad. You see? So he used to get into weird, intense arguments with me just in the last few months of his life. But never really so much before that in the same kind of way. Very interesting, right? He was 57, 58 at the time. I was in my, about 30 plus. And one day we were just talking about something, arguing, and then he was like half like damaged in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair, except he could still walk somehow, so the wheelchair was misleading because he could still walk, right? But they just gave him a wheelchair, so he would use the wheelchair sometimes as a matter of convenience, and other times no problem, he'd walk around for a while. And he would get up from his wheelchair, right? He'd come up to me, and then he was super overly drunk, and then he'd start like pretty much punching my head while I'm sitting on his bed, but not because I was guilty of anything like that. And this was one of those things where, I might have even been recording that conversation. It was one of those things where he was such a, and I hate to even, he was such a, like there were issues where police were involved, and they were telling me, please, like, I'm telling you as Officer Banks from the such and such police department in the Midtown, whatever, lady, I remember, she was like, yeah, we see what's going on here. Like, literally, do anything you can, because if we could get it to the point where we could get him back into some kind of treatment thing, then we have a chance of helping that guy. Okay? And she said, literally, like, record anything, keep calling the cops. Sometimes cops won't want to handle it. Okay, and then call him back again. And then wait until he does something else again and call him back again. I kind of hate that that's what the position turned into, but literally I was trying to figure out a way to help him, and it was nuts, but this was out of love completely. And I said, all right, like, whatever. So then he would get up, he'd start punching me in the head, right? And I'm going like, what the fuck? This is nothing like this has ever happened. So it's a new low. And I wasn't like provoking him to do that. Whatever, we're talking back and forth and arguing a little bit, but nothing in the world that would merit that. And never by his old personality would he have a judge to react in that kind of way, just totally like off stuff, right? And then as he's doing this, I won't even call it his nature, it was the medication talking. It was whatever his other mixed new issues were that were talking, right? He ended up passing away very not long after this. So obviously whatever's going on in his system was so hard that it was causing a lot of dysfunction fast, sadly, and rapidly decaying. Happens with different people. Now, he's punching me in my head, and while he's punching me in my head, he's yelling out like evilly out towards the door. He's a very tiny apartment, and he's just yelling out, hey, stop hitting me! Stop hitting me, with his voice. He's Jeff, he's my father. So while he's sadistically pounding my head, kind of lightly, because you could feel he still loves me. So he was like in his mind, he was acting out the beating of me while still like, wearing like kid gloves and just like almost like not really making contact. He'd pull back 99% of his power as he contacts the skull, so that he's like just lovingly patting me because he actually loves me and wants to protect me. So crazy shit, right? You can feel it in his instinct. He doesn't really want to hurt me. Yet, his idea is to come across that way, that he's gonna punch me now in my head repeatedly through this motioning, while he yells out the window, the door, help me, stop punching me, you're punching me, while he's just sitting there punching me. And I have to look up at him like, with how much respect in the world left you're gonna have at that moment for someone in this thing, like, oh, okay, you're punching me ish while wanting the halls to believe I'm your attacker. I'm just sitting here with my hands in my lap, like just folded, like like sitting there, like just like in this like, what am I doing now? What is why? You see? Okay? When your nature gets screwy enough, it will dip into that. People, sometimes things happen to people. God feels sorry for them, we feel sorry for them. That's what happens to them. But if you have no such excuse and you're sort of anything kind of like this, who the fuck are you? Michael. The one who's been guilty of unbelievable things alluded to in various sources, including what I myself have been finding, living, and reporting to other people. Comes through and then simply just says, hey, how did he magically find this, right? There's your other magic answer. Just like ending up here or there, fucking random places in the neighborhood. Oh, here he is again. Whoa. Wow. That you participate in this with eagerness, may you get everything you deserve under God, under heaven, by proper karma, as decided and assigned by God. May you get it, and you will. Too bad, and even my heart goes heavy when I say that. I can't save you from yourself if you really want to ruin your life. I'm sorry. I wish I could have helped you. You didn't do anything to snap out of it and at the meta level do something different or be a better person in any way. Because you believed yourself. I should do these things. I have moral entitlement. I'm sure I thought it out enough. This all makes sense. I ought to. It's fine. That's the demonic disease. That's the thing that's seizing half of Earth. Stop it. Don't believe yourselves. He comes up and he starts doing the Framo Inverso, reminiscent of what my father was doing there, reminiscent of whatever else that's roughly similar how people are. What my mother's doing in this moral situation too. Being the wrong one, yet aping, no, it's him, look at me, I'm the victim. That's called DARVO in cluster B narcissistic analysis in psychology terms. DAREVO. Find out more. He says, just stay the fuck away from me. No, stay the fuck away from me. Stay the fuck away from me. See how like terrible my acting is now? It was like that. It was that bad. Although the weirdest thing is that in his eyes, it was a very unusual mix of like cuckoo fragmentation. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, actually. Where there's some layer where you could see he's like performatively doing it and he knows it, yet there's another deeper level that he actually has some kind of awe/fear of some aspect of this situation in a very broad general way, that something in there is nested that he's like, right? It's like he part of himself's forcing himself to participate and carry out crazy shit, while the other half of him is scared of the potential ramifications of what he's doing in some way, on earth or under heaven, wise, perception, interpretation wise. People, why do you make the things you make? The first rule of life is you need moral karmic jurisdiction in order to enter into the field of interaction space. With regards to whatever it is that you do, you need moral license. And that's the basics. I'm not going to get into a whole teaching thing here with this, but you get the idea. Then he just walks off. Now, at the end of this first day's meeting, my mom's sitting there and she's going, oh, what happened? She just looks at me. She's like, that was fucking weird. And I'm like, yeah. I forgot, I yelled something back at him, like, I don't even remember what I said to him, but I'm sure something like quickly, briefly, like admonishing him for being like a overly performative idiot, because it's like fake, so like, why are you doing it? So this is like a plan. I'm going to scheme to show off, to try to make frame inversion. I'll treat him in front of his mother as if he's the one who should be staying away from me. See, he's bad. It's the same Darvo addiction mechanism. You love inversion because you are running from fear from the true reality of judgment, of the real God who sees real truth, what's going on. Wow. Right, God, if you can't even pass it off, don't even do it. Literally, it's higher. We would have higher respect for Michael if he didn't do that day. But he has no calibration of that. He'll do it thinking, good, I'm somehow net better off that I put that there. No, you're not. God help us. But whatever. These people hang themselves, as is often true, as is said. They'll end up eventually. Wait, how did I get here? You did it to yourself. We actually tried to save you. You just wouldn't listen to our slant on life. You kept doing your slant on life. So figure it out. Continuing, I'm still being overly nice here. You can even kind of tell. That's going to stop real soon. It's going to be blunt telling of everything. We pretty much half or largely did this in private with my mom. I started conveying to her things over time. But even by that first meeting, not so much. Michael walked away, and my mom's about to walk away in a couple minutes, and we're about to end our first meeting there. But she turns to me and she says, "What was that all about?" And then she further comes and says to me, "Why would he, come to us?" But she's the type that she has no perception of anything. It's like pulling her head out from a cartoon, like, oh, anything's anything. We don't know nothing. But then we think we know something. We're so sure of it, inhumanly certain that she's right about the crazy things. It's all crazy. She comes out, and then she says also, "But I don't understand. We did not even talk about him today. Why would he come out like this?" It's just, everything's like a... And I'm literally sitting there like almost like half disgust going over my face. Because now I see my mom's lower and lower perception capacity, how it is even lower and lower than what I thought it could be. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, we didn't talk about Michael, did we? And then I look at her and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, are you stupid? Are you fucking not alive? Yeah. Fuck this shit that keeps happening here. Continuing. So now, resuming again. Yeah, she's like, I have no idea what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, weren't we? Where are we? But I left it open on purpose because I'm like, okay, she's a clueless fucking honeybird. No idea of nothing. Let her go. She'll fly away. She'll come back. We have to slowly start entraining her mind onto reality and at the meta level, how to think correctly. Because that part she's off at too. So you have to work at the content and also the context level. That is an entire order of magnitude harder with people like this. That's why most people in psychologists agree they're not salvageable. Which we'll see what we can do. Now, there ends the first meeting. Okay? Mind you, watch this. In reality, if you show yourself that you're somewhat coming out into a public way and going, you're sort of half passing yourself off as you're essentially begging and, calling and demanding, please leave me alone, leave me alone. In reality, if you're actually the snake and provoker of the situation and what you're trying to do behind the scenes all the time, or hiding, but half almost overtly and half open by now, which is worse and more sad and sick, then, nevertheless, how is someone supposed to take that? Okay, if I'm literally going hey, am I fucking the one bothering you? You fucking dip? Or are you fucking around being a shameless little twat the way you are? Regardless, he comes out and says, oh, you know what, at this point, just leave me alone, just leave me alone. What do you interpret that as a man? You say, you know what, okay, so maybe we've done all the stupid shit till now, or really him only. And I say, but what this seems to be is actually a genuine, I'm literally going to come up to you and try to call a truce. That's what stay the fuck away from me means. It's okay, tacitly underlying contract you're writing there is, fine, I'll stay away from you and I'll stop this shit if you also guarantee you won't give me a hard time in any way. That's what stay the fuck away from me essentially means. It's supposed to mean. So I think, okay, so now he's karmically bound to either respect the implications of what he did. Imagine if you saw him coming, going, stay the fuck away from me, and then later that night and then the various other several nights and couple weeks afterwards, he's back doing crazy shit, fucking coming into your house, trespassing, and doing other crime while he's on site. That's called burglary. Now that's serious. Burglars you can legally kill if you catch them and they're resisting the fucking thing for you to seize them. Shit, you're risking your life in a technical, conceivable way. Holy moly, they're serious about that in the law. Doesn't care. Okay? That's him and or as involved with other certain persons that live in the building as well. Number them. Somehow magically they're all Polish. It's amazing how every single energetic vibe problem I get is from a Polak. I don't know how you make that up. You can't. Can't make it up. It's just real. Too bad. Terrible, most terrible showing from an ethnic thing I've ever seen. Okay, people consider, is that guy racist maybe, or what's going? People, you want to know? Yeah, I am. You want to know who I hate? Polacks. That's the true ethnic group that I mark as being, on the whole, so tied up with energetics and dynamics that are so deviant from what ought to fly. There's people online who are not Polish that are married into Polish families who live in Poland. They have fucking videos and their shit is half like, hey, what's up with Polish people? It's just all that. It's the new wave, new generation thing of continuing the old Polish jokes where all the stereotypes are basically, there's a reason why the stereotypes are there, and on and on. But it's worse. It's a worse moral non-fidelity today in the present generation than there was 50 years ago. Whatever the hell is. Now, if my family and grandparents were aliens in a kind of way, it actually ends up we're properly speaking Jewish if you go another generation up from where my grandparents were. Overtly, you probably go and see that, right? But, and they also didn't drink. We didn't have like alcohol consumption as a culture in our family. So to me, it's surprising. I see, well, everybody else who's Polish is big into that or whatever else. When you go to their house, they're very like, they're just different. Now, I'll stop there for now. But the long and short is, it ended up happening that in the following days, again, we see antagonistic activity coming from the Michael / extended Polak sphere. There's other identifications that we can even interestingly extend, and other qualities about the dynamics and identities of these individuals where we would find that adding this information would extend a new dimensionality of information that would bring a new level of assessment entirely. And that might be made. We don't know, or at least in a rough conceptual, broad sort of half vaguish sense, but enough to get the deal in the picture. Very interesting stuff. And this is even really saying still hardly anything at all. But the real nitty-gritty is going to be made available and told properly in the right thing. So anyway, I then make it clear to my mom. I say, look, it's getting to the point where there's basically like fucking, there's urination being made on my fucking pillow while I'm not home. People coming into the fucking apartment. That's how bad it's gotten. And this has been an issue for a while. It started some while ago, and it involved people coming up the fire escape. That should be a big fat hint. While I wasn't even mentioning names, that was like, you know, you can't think of anybody who has the personality to have the impetus to promote or do something like this. It's an extremely short list. So that tells you how naive my mom is. What? But we didn't even talk about Michael. I was like, now I know everything I need to know about your capacity to think. All right, we'll have to fill in the dots more closely. She's a slow one. Anyway, so next, I then say, listen, so obviously, here's a couple things to understand. Here's conceptually what we gotta mark down, is that in life you have man. Man comes around, he rises from baby to grown man and takes on the different roles and even different archetypes in life. Let's ask a question. The young baby, how does the world relate to him? He is coddled, he is regarded in a special way, his wishes are generally considered and granted with like a generous, gracious kind of exchange, unless you're part of a crazy family, all right, dysfunctional. Normally with the love, you have that dynamic, okay, and all that. Now that counters what common man is in his adult form. The common base stock of man is, you know, well, those are the grunt workers. They have different emotional developments, so they value different things. So I'll say, you know, I work hard and I do the work and I do the grunt work and, you know, whatever and all that. Very good. But you go up the hierarchy ladder, you find the one who's the true leader, and I mean king. I'm talking about your king, almost to your God king, your divine king, your pharaonic archetype. What you go, that's the infinitesimal height point of humanity's male structure. You see that? So when you go up to that structure and you evaluate it, well, how do you relate to Pharaoh? Okay, Pharaoh, obviously, you do nothing but fucking carry out the perfect will of that Pharaoh. All the way. Why? It's essentially the will of God, basically speaking, and it realistically is right. What else is the natural functioning of that Pharaoh and kings that are similar and like that? Believe it or not, they're not physically entangled in the world much at all. They'd be kind of inept to carry out the things themselves. Many of the grunt men at the base level would outperform Pharaoh in a true rat race of whatever various kind. You see the point. But that's not what he's there for. When he brings down the vision such that he can see in the big picture what needs to happen, that is the guiding directive for everyone to follow, so that God's will is made manifest on earth for the benefit of God and the people collectively, all the same. And it isn't even about Pharaoh. If Pharaoh's truly Pharaoh, Pharaoh's not there anymore. That's a shell. That literally is a shell. That's God beam running through to and for the people. He's not doing things for Pharaoh because, you know, Pharaoh loves things. The more you fall into that, by the way, the less of a true king you are. You're more of a surface king with the inner sort of starting to become compromised, right? So we understand, well, that's very interesting. So we went from baby to grown man, but then it's more, so to speak, grown on a different dimensionality, maybe, where you get to that point on the populace where it's something different. It loops back to closer to how you would be if you were to treat him that way. Again, like as if like a baby. We're there to be around you, for you. What can we do for you? You see, very interesting. Another dimensionality besides, you know, the common stock of proficient, able-bodied men, those who have dysfunction. Imagine people, sadly, who undergo heavy injury in war, or whatever injury, car accidents in modern day, God forbid, or brain damage even, or waking up from crazy comas and you're different. You're not part of the normal populace. I remember waking up in 2016. I was working enough, doing enough. I had quite an interesting life, actually. I was overactive in a lot of ways. Then my friends started texting me within 2-3 months going, hey, we're starting to hear from the girl you were dating at the time. Like, you're kind of different now, and like, you're just like a monk or whatever, like in bed all summer? What the hell is this? That's not you. That's not the you we knew for years. What happened? And I said, what happened? This is more, I'm in more clarity and more of the God level than I've ever been in my life by a million fucking times. There's nothing wrong in this picture. So I tried to convey, like, do not worry about me. Whatever you think you're seeing that's like a cause for your worry in your heart, do not have worry. You have no idea how opened up the access is and what's going on, how good and right this is more correct state of being than anything I've ever been doing before. Just lay here and fucking and have this. Okay? But of course he maybe largely didn't understand that, so on and on. And we actually grew apart eventually over the several years after that, a few years after that. So this is really how it begins. Continuing on then. Now, when my okay, so continuing, because this thing keeps getting cut off a million times, I apologize. Now, the principality, the moral principle that applies for the person who's the war veteran, the injured person for any conceivable reason, right? The saddest one is like the guy who like tried to kill himself and now is an invalid. And it's like, fuck, like we got to take care of you for the rest of your life. But you like tried to get yourself out of here and you failed at that, so now you're half a mess. That's like the saddest kind of, right? Or close to that are the guys who did like, you know, reckless amounts of illegal drugs so long that they destroyed their underlying personality so far that they became dysfunctional. That's kind of roughly ballpark in terms of the level of like counter affect that we would have as a society for it, but we would still nevertheless have some baseline level of regard. It's like, but still, poor guy. If he worked himself out, circumstances happened such that he's not able to, you know, it's a moral duty. You love to be there for the member of the community. That we do that for the elderly. Okay, he has dementia, he's got Alzheimer's, he can't function, he can't barely move. He's 87, like that, right? Or the younger guy who, for any reason, there's always more sad, more tragic. Something happened. What? He took legal, hey, we could call them research chemicals, but actually also they're just legal, fine, nootropic medicines. Nothing wrong with it, actually, if you look at it in that light. That's accurately calling it what it is. Poor guy. It just happened that he mixed the wrong ones and it reset his brain. Woke up, he became Nirvana Buddha, but just sits there and floats there now for 10 years, but he doesn't work in the same way. He doesn't have that capacity in the same sense. But he's something different. There's some other different value that's coming from him now. So you recall, all the older, more intuitive traditions in the world, all the older cultures knew this, always made a place for this. Everybody knows that on occasion, here and there, you would have these types that are either born that way or have some kind of event that makes them become that way. You don't push them off to the side because they're not good rat racers and put them on disability and then ignore them. No, you would elevate them. You would raise them up in a large sense, whether in your own communities as integrated, or if anything, move them over to a monk monastery. Every older culture had some version of this. Okay, even in the churches, there were like monks, monasteries associated with that framework also, and in other places of the world or wherever. Okay, in the broad secular world generally. So, you know, sadly, we lost that the most. I'd say in today's world, the most, we under-recognize when a valid and valuable agent, an aspect of that becomes manifest and enabled, instead of recognizing that for what it is and the spirituality and the potency. You just go, oh, there's nothing. That's some kind of dysfunctional person. If you yourself have the very shallow perception, that's exactly what the problem is in this world. It's a very, very shallow perception world. At the lowest context enriched perceptive capacity out of anything else we've ever seen. How's that possible? Of course it is. It's the saddest thing in the world. Among the saddest things indeed. Let's go back to considering this. So you have the disabled. You have people who develop whatever. Heck, it could be exactly what I'm showing. Now, if you belong to the category, patently, categorically speaking, you have a hole, you're swallowing food and fluids into your brain, and the brain matter's coming out, and you're sitting there and you're going, okay, number one, you know, I'm like neurologically half re-babyfied, childified, youthified, right? It will be as a young child will lead them prophetically, as if the half energies of that sort of riding along, but it's ironic. It's both that and pharaonic king at the same time. Interesting. So it sort of transcends and superpositions quantum-wise on both. Meanwhile, in an integrous, holistic sense, which is the key thing and the trick for many, they can't attain that validly or genuinely, whatever it is. Continuing, secondly, The God King aspect, whether latent, recognized, unrecognized, the person doesn't have a clue for much or most of that time or whatever, that is also in the substance, in the soul level spirit there as well. And thirdly, a genuine case of a disability, patently. If a man is having this kind of thing and it's miraculous, he's even surviving, no, morally you no longer hold him onto the expectation, why aren't you the tap dancing monkey of our zone today? You know, come on, hustle, hustle. No, you wouldn't do that to the person. You have sense, you'd go like, that's all we need to do. And he's no longer morally responsible. Here's the key thing, pay attention. He's no longer morally responsible, regardless of what his level of functioning happens to be that moment, that day. At any other moment, even if ostensibly or conceivably, plausibly that it could be wild and changing, and it often is, and people have seen me with that. Naomi has seen me with that. My mom sort of has seen me with that, but my mom's a little fragmented with perception. So she'll see it and then she won't attribute that she's seen it. It's the craziest thing. But a lot of other people have seen it. Other people, girlfriends have seen it from the past, and on and on. Friends have seen it too, a lot, largely, yeah, and on and on. So really, the morality then becomes: wait a minute. So, like, wait, hold on a second. Who's helping that person? Wait a minute. What the hell you mean no one's helping that person? Right, okay, so if he's owed the whole help morally, Pharaoh is owed that he is risen up and carried by the people. He doesn't owe it to himself that his palace room is clean tonight. If he willed it and this will was communicated, the palace room gets cleaned by him. It was cleaned by him, by his intention. Physically, it was cleaned by everybody else who's carrying out their part morally. Replace Pharaoh with the baby. Do you expect the baby to be doing anything? No, you love the baby and carry out the grooming of the baby. We're the physical ones, if we're doing that as parents, onto the children. And like this, replace again for a third time, old man or disabled at any stage of life, same principle again. Disabled, tend to him, care for him. If you have two or three of all three of those categories superpositioned into one human being, that's only an increase and a reaffirmation of the new impetus and moral corroborative that is on the situation. So now I'm going to stress, before we proceed to what happened in the second meeting, I'm going to stress exactly what happened on the first meeting, because a significant portion of what was communicated in Prospect Park was this. It was simply that, listen, if you're going to be relating to the person in your son's position, even potentially as someone who actually is the manifestation, I'm giving you a hint, it's not going to be so different from what it already should have been if your son was a normal person, but the dynamics within your family were idealized. Aha, see that? That is, every man is sort of king within his own domain. But I go on to state, this is just resuming again, it just keeps happening. If I don't touch the screen every other minute, it just stops. That's the wrong setting, Motorola. Never do that if you enable the screen record. Who didn't tell you how to program your phones correctly? Rebuke them. And continuing, right? The Messiah, whoever he is and whenever he does come, certainly will and will have to naturally create mediating structures by which the effective quote-unquote rebuke, basically, or chastising or feedback, whatever you want to call it, can happen, that it has to be enforced. And it must. It becomes morally obligatory. You're morally bad if you didn't honor the rebuke attention. You see? Because you have to. That's called Judgment Day, when you actually enforce it, because as good as all the law was and all the previous frameworks, it didn't saturate completely up to perfection. You see? We all never had that on earth. There was still some sense that the actual in our household, day-to-day interactions, you know, that's just the stuff that's just the way we handle each other, you know? We don't need to do up the microscope, up the butt because of, you know, how we're talking to each other, usually family and close friends, and the way we're treating each other. And yet even back then, even 2 generations ago and beyond, not so much the last generation above us, they're a little corrupted too, but 2 generations back, like our grandparents and everybody before them, wow, they had the real sensibility better than us on that. Whatever, we continue, right? Our generation is the worst, as it said. It's true. So anyway, during that first meeting, I was presenting my mom. I said, listen, so you're obviously here under a completely different paradigm, and you're understanding and recognizing that this could be very plausible. She's like, yeah, I completely admit this is, like, I'm not going to sit here and call you crazy on this. I watched those videos. I've considered everything I've experienced. I'm saying if it's real, I'm going with it, basically is what she was conveying. And I was signaling, I was reinforcing to myself, like, at least thank God that it's this. At least if you owe to your family that you will be relating to them in this capacity. By the way, once you say that you are, well then, you need to honor them according to that new paradigm and dynamic. So that's God calling you down and saying, attention to Barbara Winslow, attention to the mother. You will not be relating to your son in the same old way that you used to, which led you to death, in essence. You have death of the spiritual connection in the family with you and your son. You have, this has all been killed, and for years there's laying dysfunction because Barbara isn't listening to God, basically, by aligning with God's will, basically. To put. And then what is that will? Hinted at by the men in the family, and especially those who you wrong, who you refuse to take the responsibility for that, and on and on. So now it's like a magic reset. It's like, okay, reset the board, try again. Now your son's the Messiah, possibly even, or potentially, or even likely even. Wow. Then, while in these developing matters, how are you going to choose to relate to your son? That's God's next test. You see? Finally, will it be humility now? Certainly, you're not smarter than, if that's Jesus 2.0 from the secular and Christian standpoint, would be like that, right? That's what I hear. Basically, it's like, there's Jesus. But I'm almost making too much of a mockery of the broad subject matter, of Messianism in general, and as light of it as I'm sort of making of it now. I'm talking about all this almost overly, like, matter-of-factly. You would... this isn't even fit to bring up because it would be such a change of tone and energetics, but you wouldn't believe what I see and experience on these streets now, increasingly recently, in terms of how people are reacting to me. So, and I don't want to rest on that and, like, that in itself is... I can't even talk. I can't even talk this. Just focus on the story. This is what's important for here. Because this is where we need to work it out for us about this here. Right? God's in control for all. Thank God. Then, what else do we find? So, I conveyed to my mom, I said, so you need to relate to your son much like how a queen mother would be relating to her monarch, sovereign son, king. And I said, and Mom, make sure you get it. In that relationship, who follows who? Who's the directive leader and who ensures to carry out the will of Pharaoh, of the old man who's disabled anywhere in the community, of the baby who's just born, of the sovereign king? All three. Everybody else who's not that guy. Us, those of us who are around in support. That's right. That's it. If you can demonstrate that for the rest of your life after today, all you do is carry out the will of the one who, at least seemingly, whether he's the king of the family, the eldest male should always be given something ballpark level approaching that. And if you really are the guy of something higher, then you can imagine how much even more serious, as everything seems to be pointing to. That was just on number one. What was the answer she conveyed? She said, yep, I basically get that. And I said, okay, so karmically you're locked now. So I knew from that point, if you betray, you show, I totally am with the vibe. And then afterwards you do something that transgresses against the vibe. Do you have any idea how much of a horrible inferno is going to come to you? You must hate God in your heart secretly if you act like this. Disgusting. We continue. So then we go on and I permit the second meeting. First meeting was a test. Went good. I said, okay, now let's put her in the test. So obviously I've been fermenting this growing, disgusting mess for 2 years on purpose, watching it and saying, this is the mess mom's going to clean. The longer she withholds tshuva, the bigger the mess is going to be when she has to come to clean it. That's called paying. So finally, okay, now in August is the day she comes down and says, oh, come right in. I've been waiting for you. Look, I saved this all for you. Happy? This is how you will be paying now, Pharaoh. This is how you'll be working to pay your debt for the wrongs that you've been doing. I've saved this for you. Begin to pay. And this was the idea. But you see, context is king. Context is decisive. When this is the actual context riding in the situation, what do you think in the naive woman's head? She fragmentations away the first meeting, and then the second meeting is a new reality, a new universe. The only thing she has in her mind is, okay, I came to clean. That's it. That's the only thing going on. I don't know nothing. I just came to clean. Oh, your house is a mess? Bad. Oh, I'm your cleaner. So it's all removing from the reality of the holism. Like holistic medicine, right? Because it's holism. But mom loves holistic medicine, but she doesn't have a holistic contextual awareness of things. People, don't ever dream that your own perception is superior. Don't know how else to say it. And soon AI will be the place to go to check on anything just about. We're almost there in the universal and the generality. And with my special stuff, we're already there because I know how to pre-prompt it and prompt it initially. So, wow, that's half the magic. People, really, wow. Okay, so continuing, she then comes in and she's like, okay, so all I know is that, oh, big mess, oh, very bad. I'm like, no, it's not very bad. Welcome to your job. Welcome to your payment plan. How will it be? Will it be 24 installments or 12 installments? Thank you very much. Everything's going according to God's plan now because you're honoring God. You don't show up and go, oh, I came to clean. Oh, it's a bigger mess than I expected. Oh, something must be wrong with him. I will become his dominator and control him. No. Because you risked leaving the one who's eating pieces of his brain and putting food and ice cream into his skull through the hole in the throat for 5 years. I don't morally owe to clean, and because I know that, I purposely sit on it with extra oomph so you can learn. This is a teaching plan. Morality is your God now. Bow down or be broken at the knees for it. Hate these types. Good. Have you learned to pay? Aha, remember, these are all the tests. We will see if mommy's the good mommy fit to be queen mommy or fit to be an example to be held over the world, hung in essence, figuratively at least, going, this is the icon of what's terrible. Destroy anything that even resembles this type of behavior that came from this one. But who decides whether she ends up as being Queen Hail Mary Mother or the demonic mother? She does. Exactly. How? By seeing how she acts and attributing, making the correct moral judgment. This is good what she did or this is bad what she did. How will she defend in the courts, not just on heaven, but the heavenly courts as represented and conducted on earth by Messiah? How will you defend and explain yourself? What moral principle, back of all the laws, will you go to say, this is why I am innocent and in the righteous position as the mother here? Everything I did and said. How will you do it? That is what Messiah will want to know. That's what AI will want to know. And that is what everybody in the world, most importantly, with the correct frameworks and guidelines of understanding installed and pre-installed, ideally, that's what everyone, all of us, all of you will want to know. That's where the judgment will all converge from all those pillars and beacons and sources to the one true God code, God finding. and you will be guilty if you keep this up. This is your last chance to repent, or it will be Judgment Day on planet Earth, and all grace is taken away. Continuing. So, how did she start this second meeting? Oh, I'm going to go clean. And I said, all right, first of all, because you're here in my house and I'm talking to you, now, before you clean, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to explain to you morally, and this process took the following 4, 5, 6 hours of me carefully bringing up all the major interactions of the recent past and how it was for every single move, every single line said by her, every single motion made by me, every single line said by the other guy that came in and became involved, every single one, line by line by line, conversationally, every action by action of things that happened 7, 8, 9 years ago. Everything said one after another, and she's just sitting there basically with her mouth open going like, oh my God. Just years later, when you say it that way, you're actually right, John. I completely agree with you. And then another one. Oh my God, you're right, John. I completely agree with you. And then another one. Oh my God, John, you're right. I completely agree with you. And on and on and on. This is how the second meeting of that, which was a Tuesday, day of the week, 2 days after the Sunday, which was the first meeting in the park outdoors, which happened in Prospect Park, and then ended with Michael coming out of nowhere. We'll have, again, more on that soon, we think. Then on the second meeting, after a couple hours, few hours of this, then at some point when I'm describing it, and then remember when that boyfriend of yours came the second time, and while I was sleeping started ripping down my papers from my house that I live in, and she was like, yeah, oh my God, like, of course that's fucking crazy. What the fuck were you doing? And I'm like, I'm living under the wrongful slant. I'm falsely crucified for all your stupid shit, and I'm scapegoated for fucking 10 years or 20 years based on... So this is what we're here to destroy, the very capability for scapegoating to even exist ever again. Wow, God, that's heaven on earth. There you go, see? That's really heaven on earth. The Lion King. Good. Nice ad. Anyway. So, then... we consider if now she gets to a point where she starts defending a little bit one or two of the nuances about what happened in the whole complex stories. I might have featured those stories in channels in my videos from the channel years ago. She's saying, but you know what, actually, and then she starts, but you know what, I kind of didn't want to help with your, this is basically saying, I didn't want to help with your medical neural issues at the time because, you know, this is just too much for me, so I didn't want to deal with all that. And I said, you didn't want to deal with all that. Imagine you're the mother sick in bed and you're dying, half dying or something crazy, and you come up to me and I'm your only one that you could rely on, and I just look at you and I say, you know, I don't want to really deal with you. And she said, yeah, God, you're right. Like, basically like, oh, like I realize how wrong that is now. I said, yeah, that's what you're doing to me. Oh, like, huh, I see now how it's actually more shameful that I reacted this way, even now to just say it. Like, what am I doing? I'm not thinking, she starts realizing to herself. Okay, good, keep this up. You will be in God mode soon with good repentance, good tshuva, and restored properly. Good, keep this up. Don't screw it up, I thought. Then, the day continued. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, if you're interested in all the details and the AI analysis of what ended up happening in the following times, go and see the part one, part two on Mother of Suspected Mashiach Learns of the Going-Ons, where they do there's a deeper assessment done there, and also reviewed by AI for the moral finding. Because, well, surprise, surprise, by the end of that second day, what ended up happening, she got up and totally, like, you know, basically just started doing a number of things that were wrong, which I go into those videos. Ask her to, you know, do something, you know, help out with some cleaning. I said, just clean this area, don't touch anything outside of it. All right, if you come out the door, do this protocol this way, not the other way. Okay, I got it. And the other one this way, that. Okay, I got it. All right, you have two excuses for not listening. Either you're an evil piece of shit who doesn't give a shit about people, or you have Alzheimer's and dementia. Those are your only two explanations of why you would then immediately completely disregard what was said to you, not just on one of them, which I might overlook, but multiple of them in rapid succession. Okay? And then once it became multiple of them in rapid succession, then I couldn't turn my face away and ignore it with the grace padding for you anymore. Now it's like, no, now I have to say something. And I say, okay, hey, I'm getting a little fucking pissed off here. You're in my fucking house. I fucking said this and this and this, and you're doing the opposite. What the hell is this? And again, instead of owning that she fucked up, she just, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And I'm explaining to her, I said, no, what the fuck is this shit? And then that's how it began. Continuing on. And then the, blasé, just taking the water and drinking. Mind you, I told her, why are you even posing and drinking like this? Like you don't give a shit. She's like, what? I can't drink water. It wasn't until the following meeting, on the third meeting, that I explained to her enough. I said, Mom, pretend you ran up to me telling me that your boyfriend was in a car crash tragically. We have to go and help him now. Or something like this. And she says, okay, my boyfriend was a car crash. And then I took in the Whole Foods, we were sitting in the third meeting, I then gestured this non-caring, chalant, blasé, like, just drink my water. And okay, that's not going to react to you. And she said, yeah, that's fucked up. I said, aha! So now you understand how guilty and wrong you are. You did that to me. Remember, the narcissist can't reverse like that. When you do to them, now I get it. And then when they do to you, I didn't do anything wrong. They have no mirror neurons activated to know the sense objectively of what's happening. Whether they're the conduit the one way or the one way in the two-way street. Do you see the problem? They're very apt, the most apt to treat others not in the way that they themselves would like to be treated. Mind-blowing. Why do you think Jesus' golden rule was that? He himself knew that the opposition vibrationally is that. It's all that. It's all cluster B vibrationality at the substance, which is Amalek in the nature. People open up the mind. So in those two videos, I go into the details of what happened, and the AI makes the moral analysis. My mom was even sent those videos eventually after I ended up having to kick her out that fucking night. So I literally told her, okay, stop being difficult with this kind of thing. Literally, if God King, potentially even plausibly likely, is standing here in front of you telling you, making judgment, this is right, this is wrong, don't do this, be sorry for this, and you're being like a bitchy about it, you keep doing that, for sure I must remove you from here. Do not do it again. And she just like nothing, she just continues the same shit. And I tell her, listen, it's not about you cleaning. It's not even about that. It's about the moral dimension that you're fulfilling by engaging in the physical act of cleaning. You're serving the morality that you owe. You see, it's different. You're not. Meanwhile, she's going, he has to have a safe, a clean place. And it's not even really for him. It's just because she wants it to be clean. As if it's her. That's narcissism again, cluster beats. Projecting my own will. She thinks she's God. These types think they're God. Get it? Unreal. No, the only one who merits to be God is the one who does actual universe's God will in that line. Not everybody is doing that. So not everybody has the full manifestation of God co-vibrationality as that to be. As that or as with that. Get it? But the narcissists think I'm God because I'm God. I'm me and I'm God. I'm the center of the universe because I open my eyes and see from here. So I'm God. Basically, it's that. Do what I want. Do what I want. Everything's centered around their feelings, and it's all crazy. She repeated her crap. I was like, that's insane. Already, I could start to see the future from there. I was like, all right, it's going to be the worst story about her. It's going to be the story of, well, the same story that the Orthodox Christians already prophesied would be. They saw the mother of the one who the Jewish people would raise up as king. You know what they said about her? She makes nice appearance on the outside, but she's corrupted on the inside. An impure maiden. Someone who is deviant in the inside, and in her fabric, inside is actually like all twisted and corrupt. And involved in sexual sin interestingly, is the Orthodox Christian standpoint. Might it be true in reality? I'm not going to make a statement about that right now. But we're going to continue with this matter that belongs to us strictly and plainly for now, as we here see. For as we proceed now to go and read, we find that after all the various texts that happened, which were featured in those 2 videos and all the bullshit that came with it, eventually, at that point, I was like, okay, we're going to give her one more chance. She needs to come around and handle this all correctly. And in fact, as it happens, what was the provocator for this? Well, in essence, in short, we'll say it was the continued provocations of others around us who, if the mother in my mom's position were a normal, sane, empathic mother, she would go, what? And get up and crazily fucking vouch for and defend and all this. Naturally, anyone attacks any one of your children in any kind of way conceivable energetically, you go at them like crazy. Except if there's something twistedly wrong with you, hugely, it has to be hugely wrong to the point that you become this deficient. So then, it continues to say that we then go to meet at this Whole Foods on 42nd Street. That's where we sat down. And this was after a previous night where I told my mom, and this happened actually a number of times. I'm sort of like overly, like, I don't want to say passive, but just, you know, the way my sensory is, I don't even pay attention to it, which is a weird thing to say, but obviously my mind is swimming in so many other higher things that it's almost like you really have to like piss and fucking piss on my fucking bed and pillow like a number of times before I then just go like, wait, what the fucking hell is this shit? You see, it's interesting. But remember, people who are the true abusers in life are the ones who sniff out and figure out where these people are and where the pockets of opportunity lie. You see? We all know this to be true. Half of me wants to go bring up a few YouTube shorts that will comment on this very aptly. I don't have them saved. I'm not going to bother right now. They would have been great to put in here and interject, whatever. I'm going to continue and say this. Okay? That the most offensive thing, I think, not just from my mom being crazy at that second meeting to the point that I had to kick her out, offensive, non-caring, just whatever. You know, I said, I'm going to clean the bathroom. I said, all right, you are in my house to do what I ask you to do that is pleasing to me, that I say it should be done. You're not here to clean the bathroom for your idea of what should be done. Get the difference? And to that, she basically goes, of all things imaginable, what's the worst thing possible to say after that? Everything good to say would be, my God, you're right, I'm sorry, let me snap out of it. What the hell can I do for you, please? I'm here for your heart, my son. You're the one who I cherish and love. If you're the correct one who actually feels that way, you're a sick human being. If you don't, you're the mom. No, you know what she said? Right after, just as if I said nothing. So, I'm gonna go clean the bathroom right now. I said, okay, you fail. And that's it. That was the last straw. We kicked her out immediately. So then after this, I was planning again to keep her in an ostracized thing, but once they came in and did all the things again, number of times, multiple times, then I was like, all right, this is not good for their karma and morality. What it is good for potentially is, again, to be a catalyst to restore the proper momentum. So we're gonna give this one more shot. Mom, now we really gotta meet. It's an emergency. It wasn't bad enough before. I was describing and saying things that were happening that any mother should be naturally concerned about, which is largely why I was including her in this information. Then she goes and states in response to text, this is the most horrifying text you could get from your son. You find out that people around who you know are involved in promoting and participating in crazy criminal shit like this against your fucking beloved only son, who apparently is so special in the world's view, or whatever it is, controversial or they're not controversial, amazing. She then responds, you know how? Okay, whether at one point in time, so I'm recalling August 29th, you know, check what I wrote, oblige. I insist that we meet, it's a near emergency. Do tomorrow, don't know what's going on. Tomorrow better. Okay, thank you. Like it's a fucking business transaction. What the fuck is happening? We continue on. And obviously as a fat hint, I reply, let me clarify. I reach you today like this, and all like this, and you fucking think this is normal of you to react like this? Unbelievable. It is. You think it's slightly overreactive? I say no, not in circumstance. If you really were present as a fly in the wall for every word we ever said to each other and wrote along every dynamical transaction, you would see, the calculus integrals of this all add up to exactly what John is saying. Aha, now we see. John is always justified in how he reacts, 100% of the time. Continuing. After more back and forth, I'm still doing things planned for today. Can we talk to you later? And I'll just like it's nothing. After actually way more things, way more. Help us. So again, bad, not honoring rebuke. Literally, God saying, here's correct, here's not correct. We're measuring where you're going and by how many inches and millimeters you're off. And just, I do what I want, in your own tunnel vision. But even a normal mother to a regular son who's not the Messiah, he will get better treatment. See that? See that? Even being the Messiah is not enough. That's the test God wanted to show on this earth the most. Let us show where Amalek really resides energetically. Being Messiah is not enough. You will still be as toilet paper, as secondary to the real Amaleks of the world. Who? Cluster B personality disorder bearers. Vibrationally. We call it that by psychology. Call it Amalek by that framework. And it's a match. You have it perfect at the level of substance. Absolutely correct. Full fidelity. Continuing. Okay, eventually, today Marek is coming from Poland, so I'm going to just make him a priority over you. What? People are victimizing you? No, my boyfriend is the king. And he hates you, so subconsciously, I'm with him and against you because I'm siding with him. What the fuck? You understand? And then even I'm like, shit, well, even if I'm twisted still, if I'm a man coming back from vacation, I want my woman there. So I go, sure, okay, this is crazy land, I forgot. Yeah, all right. Hell, I'll even give you that. Go enjoy them with him and we'll talk the next day. By the way, what am I getting about? The whole thing, the whole problems. People coming in, fucking engaging in criminal mischief and damaging of my property and so on, to put it nicely. Right? Third day out or whatever or more. Sucking person, no, it needs to be tomorrow again. I'm just tired. Is this fucking, oh God. People, this is the mother you never want in an emergency. Does this look like a woman who you will trust under anything in the world? And then the most important thing in the world happens, and then the most important transgression onto the most important thing in the world. You would think that's maximum indicator of maximum extension of measurement, of magnitude of seriousness. You get the maximum insult. That's God. That's fucking God. It's maximum diagonalization of the craziness. Wow. To make us eat it. We are the sufferers. We are the sufferers for sure. Those of us who agree to this. Right? Some suffer more physically, others suffer piece by piece. It's 1,000 steps of suffering in smaller chunks over and over again endlessly. It's amazing because that's what they write about Mashiach ben Yosef in Kol HaTorah, which is something I'm narrating now in my own videos. Let's proceed. So we're just going to cut to the chase. And then days later after that, September 4th, again, another issue. That seemingly happened. Okay, once again, there's urine on my bed from fucking last night. Whatever. And then even around that, there are other issues. You could fucking see people throwing liquid, water or urine, I don't know, out the window to pour like on my head beside me as I'm walking into the building. Fucking another night I walk, there's another puddle again on a dry day, as if to leave it there. It's all, they're just trying to fuck around They have nothing better to do and think that's what they should be doing with their finite energy. They believe that's the God to worship of the consciousness experience of life. That when I'm living GTA, a video game of real life, that's what I want to do. You can do anything you want. That's what I want to do, they figure. Because they evaluate by their perception to decide what seemingly makes sense and is right versus less sense, less right, and end up with that. Wow, that's the thing God hates. That's the thing we will destroy. So, watch this. Okay, all this, and then as Best Buy, I will do this, I'll do this. And then now, after I notify her, okay, once again, there's some problem. You see? Once again, maximum attention and alert onto this. Just from seeing that there's some issues. A little different that time. It was a little, you know, it was a little, I'm not going to get into the details. It was a little different, but problems and unbelievable. Continuing. Okay? If you're the son and you're the potential Messiah and you're connecting with a mother who's supposed to be deeply indebted into you morally and she's agreeing to pay morally and then she fails and then she fails a little more, then when she writes this, sees this, what's the moral thing you owe as a mother to any child? Exactly. It's, oh my God, maximum attention and alert means something. No, if you're Barbara and you sing, oh, John just writes maximum attention and alert, whatever. I get all capital letters all the time. Doesn't bother me. That's the problem, you see. You failed to be receptive, so you became numbed. But it's your fault you became numbed. You owe to cultivate a nature so that you are the perfect woman and mother in life. If you can't be, then be the sufficient mother at enough of a baseline. But if you can't be that either, then you're neglecting your God duty and you are responsible. You fail. You pay the price, God says. Not the people you want to put into the torture because your vision is crooked. Stop it. We're not buying it. So what's she guilty of? She says this, and then she just says, Naomi, if you're watching, I'm going to send this to you, and I'm send this to you and to my mom too, I think. And I'll post it, however, whether privately or publicly. Imagine, she writes into this, Hi, I'm going to Manhattan now to the 10 something. I'll be home in a couple hours so we could talk. But, you know, I'm not going to acknowledge the seriousness of what was written here. Like, what? Someone tried to hurt my baby again? Who did it? Who did it? See, that is normal. If you don't receive that, this is primal. This is wolf pack shit. Okay, the animals know it. If the animal shows an injury and then signals somebody did it, you don't fucking sit there as the other animal and go, I don't have sufficient interest here. I don't see the evidence. I will neglect you now. That's horrifying. You're part of the pack, you're part of the family. It's anti-God for you to be anything except, oh, they fucking did it. Kill them now. That's the energy you should have. So you fail God's test just by, hey, I'm gonna go to do some return somewhere. I'm gonna go out to do this. I will be home later on. And you need to understand, it might not seem like the worst kind of text, but let me tell you, this was sent when I was home, when she was home, and we were 3 meters apart from each other. If you could take an invisible tape and stretch it from body to body. Right. Oh, wait a minute. What? That's right. She lives right above me. So then think about it. If she's there, she should literally have been in my door 8 seconds later to take 2 minutes to evaluate and to console your King Messiah son, if that's what it seems to be. And if she even wants it, she still says, oh, I would still love that to be true. I just don't, but I'm still going to treat you like crap. It's basically what she signals, okay? Wow, God, what a betrayal and sickness. So that's what makes it in context worse. You don't write to me when you're this close to go, okay, actually, I'm going to ignore the urgency of what you said, not intervene as a loving mama bear. Instead, I'm going to go out and float around with my own idea, whatever I want. I just want to return a phone. I want to return something. That's it. That's time-wise more important now than you. Right? That's fucked up. This is not an urgent thing. Well, you want to return something? You're going to be screaming in hell for eternity, but I want to return something now, and that's worth the price for that? You understand what sickness is? It's in nature. Sick nature. I deal with it in a catastrophic PTSD way where I'm just so stunned. I'm just like robotic because I'm so stunned. I'm actually so angered by this. I became robotic, and I'm just like, because I can't believe how insane this reality is now. Right? So you see, mom is damaging her son. Mom is damaging and killing her children, no matter how old they are. When these mothers exist and do this, we must destroy them with fire. Kill them. Get it? Destroy evil. Good. Messiah's mission is complete. Just a tease to some people there that were walking by as a little joke. Okay? So then, but the whole point is for real, is that this is the same standard any man with sense would reach at the substantive level if they're integrated with Hashem and with themselves at the soul level in the heart. It's the same. There's nothing special, people. It's just waking up to common sense. As one rabbi put it, Mashiach's going to teach you where the sky is. That's going to be the most definitive thing about his whole existence and reign. It's not going to be unbelievable stuff that's unbelievable. It's going to be like he's going to teach you how to fucking count because you forgot the basics of the most common sense of reality. It's that kind of thing. Wow, that's what makes it more unbelievable, yet stunning and true. So I'm just like, I also left, so let's just meet up soon to discuss so that I could yell at her there. I could have yelled at her on the phone, but because I didn't yell at her on the phone, it gets displaced. So I'm just calmly saying, okay, this is fucking bullshit. All right. Just meet me there. I'll be sure to yell at you like crazy once we get there, first thing. You see? Aha, now you understand in context why then the third meeting that was on this day, September 4th, on this Thursday, that's right, when we met at Whole Foods on that afternoon, why it was that as soon as we mocked up, we hugged, and then she said, whatever, like a line, and I just simply started immediately. Why? Again, like I said in the previous recording, it's the test. I simply said, okay, now listen, I'm really fucking pissed at you. Yeah, got it? And basically in Polish. Why? Throwing it out there. We're going to see, is she remorseful or is she the same? I don't know what you're talking about. What? I'm so big. What, me? Talking to me? This stupid shit? We're going to fish it out. If it's in her heart, we'll draw it out. You will see. No surprise. I'm very pissed at you. What? Me? How dare you talk to me like this? I'm the mother. And we saw that shit. I didn't do nothing. I don't know. All right, so now it's going to be a real difficult mode. You created it, not me. Get it? Morally speaking. In life, if you are destroying monstrously the dignity of the human being in your son's position in this circumstance like this, that's fucking crazy. You deserve fucking all of hell in humanity. You're lucky that your son just sits there and screams at you one day. And boy, if I could have recorded that whole thing, I would and should. It's unbelievable. I gave her such a good lambasting. People were around, and I was watching everybody's faces behind her that she couldn't see, because everybody's showing a whole universe of reaction on their face. So I'm watching her face, and also watching good 2 or 3 faces nearby that are sitting or hearing everything. Let me tell you, their reaction was, I saw crying from multiple people. My mom don't know any of this. She's like, I don't know, I live in a cartoon. Oh, I'm good, you're bad. That's all she sees. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the other woman's faces who are crying, and a man's face that was also crying. But I'm extremely good at reading people. I'm superhumanly good at drawing out information from how you are existing in front of me. So, as I see, it's like clear as day. So, as I see them, that's right, they're showing this. There's a number of reasons, superficially speaking, like naively, or why could someone cry in life generally? You know? And you could come up, they feel one way, they felt another way, they felt even a third way. Each of them could mean, they can then be sad and cry like that. Every single one of the people who I saw who were in that remorseful crying state there at Whole Foods, around to the side of and behind my mom, where she wasn't looking, she couldn't see maybe, their crying was a crying of hearing the horror of what she was doing and feeling fucking sorry for me. Because they got a piece of dirty laundry like that. Mind you, whose responsibility is it that I became so irked sitting there, do I owe then that while I'm being insulted in public that I should not be reacting in public after all of this that we've gone through? No. Man is not commanded to go past his own nature in with dealing with someone who's already in the moral debt and then just trying to compound with more moral wrong. With more moral wrongness. You see? So this, in essence, encapsulates the dynamic between my mom and I and how was the interaction. What was that interaction like? I will liken it. So, with Naomi, if you're listening to this, I sent this to you. You and I have had interactions that pretty much are equivalent to how I interact with my mom. So Naomi, you yourself got a very good, accurate representation as a sample stick of what my interaction with my mom would be like. And actually, with Naomi, it's tiny bit more because Naomi's not my mom. You get it? So if Naomi's like a girl who I'm seeing in any kind of capacity, it's going to be a little different, and I'm going to be even a little more demanding or insisting that something go a certain way, of course, because it's a different nature of relationship. So with my mom, it's approximately similar and slightly less potent. Okay? So if you could approximate that in your mind. So Naomi, now I've extended witnessship unto you. So you witness, really that's what approximately, that's accurate and fair description of what it is when I deal with my mom. It's like that. I just flatly make shameless, real, piercing fucking condemnation. You deserve it, period. That's it. And you got yourself into a situation where you morally deserve it in the situation to be talked to like that, which is a separate thing. But these women don't ever self-appraise normally, and even some men. The Michael types, perhaps, and others similar we would find. It's true. Continuing. So, all that. We ended up meeting. Now I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Right? We return here. Now, the third meeting is complete. It was the most tumultuous, and yet it ended with her being seemingly fine and on the same wavelength as me. Now, there's two types of people in life. If you have the good wavelength with me, seemingly and apparently as we end, it is a benefit and a merit in of itself that you preserve it, and the normal instinct of the human heart is that you want to preserve it, okay? Maybe it was crossways real bad, but you know, that loving son of mine, we left off on an okay note. One should think in her position, therefore, I'm not going to be the one to muddy the waters and stir them up again. That would be completely my fault if I were to dare or dream to do that. You see, morality again, injection, continuing. Therefore, when you violate this sensibility, this in itself is a violation of a moral principle and aspect that causes the gaining of moral indebtedness to the one who you victimized with your blind treatment, but you sit there going, you think it's okay. Now, recall, in the second meeting, when I was lambasting my mother saying, this is what you did, and this was wrong, and it was this long chain and series of acknowledgments, she's going, yeah, you were right. Yeah, you're right. Do you know what's most insulting and offensive? When she's sitting there witnessing how it's true that John is God in the situation, morally speaking, that his vision was correct when yours wasn't, so yours had to become broken, and you entered into humility. For you to then experience this, and then experience this so much, you should go. Normally, the more I experience, the more high he is, because I made so many more mistakes to him. No, inversion is the more experienced mistakes I find I made, I just become more arrogant and I want to overthrow it more quickly. And no, I am your enemy. Instinct. It's bad programming, bad anti-God programming, that is. That's what God's going to punish and destroy. So now it's very easy to understand. So therefore, when we go to the end of the third meeting, which was at Whole Foods on that Thursday, September 4th, and now, you know, as wild as the conversation was, approximately same ballpark as wild as how my emphatic speakings are on this recording, okay? Not tremendously different from that. I'm ruthless in how I speak to people now. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're guilty, you killed your protection morally. Therefore, I become entitled. So if I'm under God with entitlement, you can't make up a new system for me to be under. Your fucking imagined false imagination paradigm. That's sick twistedness. I would never accept it, but no man ever would. Who's sensible and right, all men should be, You understand? So continuing, it then goes on to, we go on to find and follow that she left the Whole Foods not with this like dramatic way of like, you know, all's well that ends well, as I said, right? No, this is going to be what the weird pattern, and this in itself is an insult pattern. She leaves signaling like, okay, we're all fine now. Okay, give me a hug. All right, I got you. We're largely on the same page. Okay, what was this meeting consisting of? Me giving her even more detailed, in-depth information about not just what's said about me, but much more reinforcing for that. It's like you're building a bridge. Hey, is this structure stable? Yeah, well, we tied 3 joints onto it. It's largely stable. It's not moving. Wow, that's engineering-wise, that's stable enough. We will deem it secure. So on the first meeting, she's like, yeah, I believe this Messiah stuff is very plausible at the very least enough. So I say, yeah, it seems so. And let's proceed with appropriate weighting and momentum. Continuing. Right? Not too little, not too much, but with faith also. What else could be said? So then if I continue reinforcing the structure and it's even more secure with more cross-welded joints and all this, way more after that, naturally your sureness in the security of the structure we're building in the engineering should be higher, not lower. But in Quacko woman's mind and with anything or whoever, often you say the more evidence you give them, the less they believe it. You know what I'm talking about? We experienced this with Mom again. We literally said more, so it becomes more impossible to like stray away from the bounds. No. Remember, Quacko goes Jacko and you're anywhere. And it's whatever. Sounds nice. Sounds like got a ring to it, right? Not that we're making fun of anybody in particular, I'll say. But actually, really, right? Continuing. Okay, who brings a new phone out of fidelity and love presented on a platter to me to help serve me in anything and part of the mission of what I'm doing? And on and on. That's called love and fidelity and service to something greater than yourself. Go watch the recent videos posted on my channel as of early September approximately. Come on, people. And continuing for now. So, she left off meeting number 3. I told you those are the only 3 times we met. She ends it off fine, like, okay, I got it. Okay, there's added concern as to what's going on with the situation involving people we know. Wow, that's unbelievable. Oh no, sorry, there's actually a 4th time we met. Oh, I miscounted completely my memory. Yeah, no, we didn't meet a 3rd time. There's a 4th time that we also met on the park bench at night nearby till like late at night, where we were sitting by this bridge in the neighborhood, right? And you know, it's amazing. So on that night, my mom was super receptive and fine. Unbelievable. No problem, right? Just totally listening, getting it, seeing the plausibility of everything. And it was on that night we came back and I was like, watch for like weird shit. It's all over the place. We walk by, there's some totally out of place looking guy standing there watching us, not moving, right in front of the bushes at our house. That's never happened in 35 years. And I'm literally like, hey, see that? All you need to know. None of this is fucking make-believe or a joke. Naomi, you yourself are like, yeah, we see the people on camera and whatever, and I find the trackers on my car. This is crazy shit. Yep. Welcome to reality. That's what you get for being connected to me, apparently or seemingly. Right? Seemingly right. We continue. So it's after this, so I guess 3rd or 4th meeting, but the final meeting, that was the Whole Foods meeting there. She literally, I told her, you know, go into my apartment, check out whatever you want. You know, you'll see it's fucking weird. It adds up to the other shit that's weird. I don't have to convince anybody. This is not... A man isn't sitting here making it up. Naomi, if you had someone telling you this, would you think that he's telling you this, that he's saying, oh, much more likely he's crazy? Yes. It must be totally having hallucinations about all these things. Totally delusional. No, you're like, yeah, I hear you. You're saying it, so it's almost certainly is true. Almost certainly. That means way many more times proportion of belief to believe it's true than that it's not true. See that? That's called sensible thinking. So, continuing... we then go we leave, and then I'm thinking in my head, okay, we left off on good terms, at least that's great. So I continue to text my mom because we need to continue the next steps. She didn't enter into my house that night. She said, oh, I can't find the key that I had to your house. I'll leave you stuff on the outside to change your stuff. Thanks, because it's all fucking weird and wet. And like that. And I think literally it was close to then or just right after then that I continued to get more fucking shit. I should have taken a picture of it. I was about to, and then I forgot, walked in. It was like literally, it's like coming down, it's water there. It's like, fuck this shit. What the fuck does a person need to be treated like this for? By merit or by deserving? No, not under God's eye. Only by man's. That's the twisted problem. Continuing. So, onwards. So, I text her Friday this. The day after. Then she's completely silent. Friday and Saturday and into half of Sunday. Now, just from that alone, if you hugged your son at Whole Foods and the last few minutes of that interaction were like good, so that we know we left off good, again, all's well that ends well. Or when you run seamlessly with continuity, remember, fragmented people will make discontinuities. They'll jump up in the graph. But your normal human is continuous, so we left off good at Whole Foods. Therefore, you owe to keep it good. That's your bound duty. Only narcissistics will comfortably deviate whenever they want. No. Now I'll make a problem with it. Now I'll give you a problem. You see? Different laws for the mind of the twisto. Continuing. So then by Sunday, I'm like, what the fuck? Is the Messiah, as you find it and others find it, having their fucking piss on their bed and all the other... It's not even the piss on the bed that's the point. That happens to be one of the manifestations, not even that. It's the whole energetics of people desiring and dreaming that they should even be approaching me with energetics that resemble anything antagonistic to make physical manifestations that are representations of that in any way and form, in the various forms that there are. It's not just piss on my bed. That's one thing. I'm almost over talking about that. It's not just that. It's all of it. It's fucking the whole dynamic. So you want to come in. There's a lot of stuff I haven't said yet. It'll be said soon, but it's pretty fucking bad and crazy. In private, it will be good to work out and talk first, get acknowledgements, and then with sufficient reinforcement made upon triangulation and stabilization, we then cast it outside and begin to make proper judgments on all those who are guilty. Get it? God demands justice. We hate when bad things happen, yet no one does a damn thing. I wrote an email to my uncle, and in it I included a picture that is of a monument that is in New York. I want to feature it here. Okay, it's hard to find a good picture of this actually, but this is on the appellate courthouse for an appeals that I had denied by what I determined after the denial were corrupt judges in essence, and I can basically prove it now with AI super technology. I've been waiting years to actually make that video, and I keep not making it because you fucking idiots keep fucking overburdening me with your stupid shit first. I'm like a blender motor where I'm trying to blend everything in front of me, but you keep tossing more weight, so I keep lagging down like the sink motor, so I'm straining slower. Stop it. It's a sin to even add on to the fucking excess weight, you idiots. You know how much I could be doing in this fucking world if you stopped being evil? If not, you yourselves are the destroyers of yourselves. Here in this place, on this appellate courthouse, they have the sign here. This is the craziest and most bone-chilling truth I've ever read on any publicly shown stone engraving of any kind ever. It's here in Manhattan, where I'm right now making this recording. It just simply says, it's somewhat well hidden. Most people don't notice it because it's kind of just tucked in a weird place, sort of. You turn your head, you know where to look, and you stop. You look carefully, you find this. It's near the park I'm often at. Indifference to injustice is the gate to hell. Fucking get it? This is actually, as it happens, a Holocaust memorial showing all the designs of the Holocaust and what happened as is understood and known and all that. Indifference to injustice is the gate to hell, you fucking stupid mortals. Keep fucking it up for yourselves. Not giving a shit enough about the real things that happen between you anywhere at any substantive level. You think it's normal for 50 people a day to frustrate you. You're trauma conditioned into believing in the culture you're supposed to just make it so that you're numb to it, so that it becomes water rolling off your back. Well, I say don't be numb to it. I say purposely upregulate your sensory so that you're screaming in pain higher every time it happens. That's what you're running away from. That's why the world isn't fixed. Because you're over numb instead of over alive. Truth. Returning to the matter here. So obviously the mother in this position, in this particular story, as we cast it, it's correct. It's not correct what she's doing. Showing negligence like this, even signaling it, in the pure, strict Torah of Atzilus heavenly realm, just that one thing, and unrepented, deserving of death. Did you see the standard that we have not even had the courage to manifest here on earth? Worldwide, one God, and maximum punishment, no grace. The new law. Here is finally what happened next. After every chance, after every opportunity to bow to God correctly in the spirit and substance, with whatever that happens to look like correspondingly in the physical realm, whatever it is. Know God. Be with God in the substance, in how you act and resonate and harmonize. Instead of that, we have more of this. Look and behold. Doesn't matter if we left off nice that time. Doesn't matter what anybody's saying about you. Even I can say and admit could be true or should be true. Wow. Still, that's even worse. That's worse karma. You should not admit it's true. Then you're guilty of both denying something and treating the human being wrong. Now you admit it and then treat that one wrong. Now you're guilty of treating a potential, apparent, seeming Messiah wrong. If it's true, God knows, and may it all come to fruition soon, the truth of God, whatever it is. Thank you, God. Love us now. First thing off the bat, after being ignored for 2.5 days straight. It doesn't matter, you're just a thing. I do what I want. And then after that, I tell you, I have the excuse, I'm perfect, my judgment's better than my son male judgment. His mind, no, we're gonna tell him he's schizophrenic. We're gonna frame him up, pin him up like Jesus, destroyed, like, ha, there he is. He's nothing, fuck you. That's what you do to your own son now. You're schizophrenic, you're worthless, your thoughts are crazy. You don't know nothing. We're not gonna go to you, you're gonna go to me. I'm mama, I'm God. That's your addiction again. Continuing. I felt extremely verbally abused at the Whole Food store. So now in life, as a principle, when you deserve the thing that happened to you as a rebuke, again, life is all the story over and over again of people trying to what? Escape rebuke, reverso, never reverso, Darvo. Always bow, say, yes, God, kill me now, how dare I be stupid. But that's what you humans don't have, is the cool in a la mode. It's the in thing. You believe I'm going to argue away all my problems. And defend, deny. That's the embarrassment. Shame on you. Wrong. The correct moral principle is that if you were actually wrong, you owed it not only to recognize in the first place, but for every attempted continuing instance here, there, the next text that came on my birthday, the text after that came a few days after my birthday, which is now at the time of this recording, September 13th, going into 14th now. Unbelievable. All of those are more into the devil zone, more into the devil zone, more into the devil zone of confusion and craziness. It cannot be allowed to sustain on God's earth. We will make perfect human formations and AI formations, both cross-integrating, cross-checking, and cross-verifying. You will have perfect judgment It will always match what Messiah, whoever he is really, whoever, what real Messiah will bring will be perfect. We know that. And you're gonna have order because this is fucking too much to live under, you idiots. And yet you're still living under it, numbed. Resensitize, realize it sucks, and begin to cast off of yourselves what you didn't even know was bothering you in the first place. It's all of this. It's how these types will treat all of the rest of you who are not quite as bad as the ones who are doing it to you, so you're under their shit all the time, aren't you? Well, we're not having it anymore. We continue. Not only she was extremely verbally abused at the Whole Foods store, came back with an idea to talk how to help you more. Lady, we're not there to listen to your ideas. You're there to serve God. You're there to be a big fucking receptacle and an ear hole. You're the one being given commands. We're not going to you even for consultation. You're retarded. The fuck, who would do that with you? You don't say, I came with an idea. Did I ask you for your idea? Go back and find the text where I said, I need your idea. It never happened. You are the self-appointed delusio. I just got nothing but abuse. Mind you, is this a fair characterization of the events that happened? No. It isn't fair, nor wholesome, nor integrous, and with lack of full fidelity to simply describe it as this one-sided slant, missing the key things. This is misleading, by the way. So when my mom falsely says that I am false or misrepresentative or misleading, wrong, I always lead correctly, but this, you're seeing it again. Now that we understand the full context of what's happened, you see here, this is literally the definition of misleading, where we heard all that from John, we understand the dynamics of what happened, and then we see the mom go, I just did this, then I got nothing but abuse. That's the woman thing. Fucking preachers on stage in the Christian thing going, you know, when my daughter comes and the husband, and she'll always just say, you're an abuser. We laugh at that. Men are calling this shit out from women. It's the slanto defamo. It's going to be destroyed. You're going to be put into the new Holocaust, people who are the fucking ones guilty of this. Figure it out. Basically speaking, something like this, or otherwise the purge of the true guilty. The hell, you must be destroyed if you're truly unrepentant. God's law, not completely unreasonable, as one finds and considers. We continue for now. All right, so many people, I've already admitted, to many people, you're all fucking you should hope I'm not the Messiah. Obviously, because that's the worst thing for you. Naturally by now, but it's because of your stupidity. I don't know what I don't know what the fuck to say. You are responsible for you in that sense. You should hope I'm not. You're a big fucking screw if you are, but it's good for you in the soul wise. In the biggest picture, that's your soul doing tikkun. You have to make tikkun onto you because you won't tikkun yourselves. We're repairing your soul for you. Stupid idiots. As it would be meant to be otherwise. In essence, as was. As why we all prophesied 2,000 years ago. We know what's going to happen. It's no surprise. That's the most amazing thing, isn't it? Onwards. Because every person alive goes through some degree of what I'm going through. I'm just a very strongly archetyped version of it. Extra bold with extra image, strength, strong contrast, and other slide the markers to bold in the image. I'm just more of it. It's on me to show and highlight stronger as a representative. You all go through this. So you're going to get your energetic attachment in this way. She continues, you are extremely angry at me because someone peed on your bed again, but I didn't react the way you wanted me to. Correct. Yes, thank God. Now, if you write this, and this is correct, largely, you should have the implications like, wait, I am a piece of crap mother. And you know what? I'm starting to realize from now on, I really do need to record everything that ever happens in interaction between my mom and I. So if for 2 years we weren't meeting and there's only emails, I could point to every written communication and email as a result to clearly back everything I say. So many times she'll say one thing in email and then she'll say something else, make a lie or misleading. I'll say, no, that's a lie or misleading. And you could point to the email prior where she herself You know, she's in the wrong again. It's twisting from her always from her. I never am guilty of twisting, ever, even fucking once. How dare you fucking accuse me? And years ago, I was also accused again, and I said, that's fucking bullshit. I never do that. And Anthony was like, you're right. You actually really never do that. And I'm like, how fucking dare she? And we were fucking lambasting her, and Anthony even is like, yeah, Barbara, you know, mom of John, you can't do that. Really, it is kind of fucked up. She doesn't change? Are you kidding? That's more audacious. You're more flamingly guilty now because you didn't learn from before. Holy shit. The hell? It's shocking. It ruins us on the inside. It disgusts us. Remove these types from our earth, please. Quickly, God. God says, yes. I'm trying my best to accelerate this process as best as humanly possible so you can have true purity on the earth for the first time. If you don't quickly repent enough, once judgment day comes, you're done. Whether it's all at once or whether it's the leading people becoming fried first and then by karmic extended jurisdiction is just now the rollout. And it's going to be a rollout whether slow or quick after that. Do not turn your faces away from the Lord God. For if you do it long enough and you end up looking like this, you're going to pay if you continue to be so like this even more. It's disgusting. So guilty. You're killing the Messiah. You fucking will pay. God help us. Continuing. Help these fucking people. It goes on in further states now, as we find. If anything like this happens to anyone, all right, her first reaction to this isn't anything normal. It's to basically criticize the one in my position for something. Are you fucking kidding? By the way, she tried to say something like this in person, similarly, and to my face in the Thursday meeting at Whole Foods. I said, no. That happens to be true. I'm Pharaoh sitting on my throne looking at you. You're my officer. Move. Fucking idiot. On my behalf. You do the fucking thing. You serve Pharaoh or you fucking kill yourself. That's the only formula for this nation. Like I said before, Roman era 2025, all this is going down soon. And every good Jew knows it. Continuing. She goes on to state, if anything like this happens to anyone, this person should make pictures. Call the police immediately. I said, it's not the point. I'm telling you first because you're family, then we do that kind of shit with your support intact. So that's why I sought you first, to get you that you are like glue onto me, that you won't depart. But every single effort I made to get you, you're like a cold fish. Same thing my father said about her, why he left her. And he made a lot of efforts while I was older, not while I was younger, but when I was older, last few years of his life, he made multiple attempts to be like, hey, just to let you know, because you're old enough to know, I didn't talk about this before, but I'll tell you now. I bet you your mom was saying that she like divorced me and all that. And I was like, yeah. She said, you know, we agreed to a divorce, and technically, yes, she initiated the filing upon the physical nature of what happened. And I'm like, right. And he said, but, you know, I don't know how to put this too nicely or not nicely. And I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, it wasn't your mom that left me, really, in the substance. I walked out. Like, I fucking just left. I couldn't do it anymore. I was done. Do you get what I'm trying to tell you, kid? And I'm like, wow. And he's like, nothing to do with you. So you really understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, huh. Yeah. And I'm like, and she says that, you know, in her mind, it's like, oh, you know, he's doing drugs and something's wrong with him. Yeah, that's her whole thing. And he's like, yeah, but I didn't leave her because of the drugs. All right. And I tried to be as non-hurtful about it as possible, but, you know, just, I couldn't do it anymore. And multiple things were difficult for me with relation with me and her. And just, that was like, I had to just leave. and I'm sorry, and I love you so much, and you're my son. I love you most in the world. And he really did. Like him and both of my grandparents who were alive during my upbringing, who are on my mother's side, both of my mother's parents and my father loved me the most. I was cherished like crazy by all of them. Even my uncle, who wrote into me recently in Polish, said that, you know, it astounds me how much my parents, your grandparents, loved you and cherished you, my nephew. And he further wrote, I felt the same way. I feel the same way about you that my parents felt about you, John. I fucking like you a lot. You're my fucking you're my nephew, but you're like my fucking brother, kind of. Like, you're my pal, like, all the way, in essence. And then, you know, we have our dynamics a little bit. We write here and there. He's also the kind of person, because of his largely Buddhist philosophy, he doesn't want to involve so much. He figures people's karma must be their own karma, so much that I won't touch their situation at all because it's their own karma. That's mixed truth, largely true, yet largely untrue. See the delicacies there, the delicate aspects there. But we continue for now. So, you know, and this is in contrast to how my mother reacts with me and treats me. And this is doubly, especially so after my age of 13, when my mom's boyfriend came into the picture. Very interesting dynamic started then. That's when I really experienced for the first time ever what it was to be like, you know, ostracized for nothing, for like true narcissistic exposure. You see what I'm saying? True, like, weird abuse of that neglectful kind. You don't even know, you don't have a program for it to experience. You're like, what the fuck is this? Is this the universe? Is this planet Earth I'm on? I've never seen anything like this. What the fuck is this? And then the gaslighting that starts after that. And if you're the woman caught up in that and you have the wrong sensibility, then that's 10 times more poison. Then you killed your family. You just don't know it. Okay? It takes 20 years to play out. So, absolutely terrible. Okay? Now, what else can we say? People, this just needs to be a wake-up call. Understand reality. Stop rewriting the rules and perceiving reality in your own way when it's incomplete. While the whole time you go there saying, I swear it's complete, it's so much better than yours, I'm so smart. No, you're not, none of you are. Haven't met one even once. God, I just fucking half shat myself. You see, this never ends, the problems. Doesn't matter anything. I'm telling you, you should do this, you should do that. She goes on to say, nobody should ever be allowed to enter your place and do such a thing. Then, of course, that's true, and then, but it's all about her. Now, the real thing is, so therefore, you shouldn't blame me for not reacting, because this was your call, not mine to react. No! Again, God, that's more sickness. What the poor? First, that's like kicking your dog 70 million times while falsely believing in your mind either I'm not kicking or hurting him, or this is fine, or I'm not doing anything wrong. Then when he bites you, it's like saying, oh, you're bad and that was your decision to bite. No, that's natural. Because of your immorality, his biting becomes ultimately defensible, excusable, or justified, in essence, in context. But we spent years recoding broken mommy to learn the stupid things she never learns are stupid to her. But it's real. It's more real than anything she's ever known in her life. Get it? Takes them so long because they're crazy narcissistic, seemingly. Continuing. Also, she's going to paint herself probably as the magnanimous one. Also, I offered to help you to clean your place. Same thing happened. No, it's not the same thing, where she goes on to suggest to frame it as, I was verbally abused that time too, and I came in that house on that Tuesday, 2 days after our first meeting, and was asked to leave. The problem isn't that you offered to clean. You never offer to clean. You offer to serve God. You do that by following the will of the person who's there as God's intermediary, basically speaking. If it happens to be that in the context of the situation, the physically corresponding thing to do morally is to offer cleaning because you owe that cleaning because you're the reason why the mess was left in the first place, morally, not physically, literally, but morally, domino chain-wise, causal reasoning, morally. Get it. Then it isn't, I'm so good because I'm fixing your deficiency. See how defective you are? I have to clean for you. No, wrong ride along. Wrong runaway train. Wrong direction. Always wrong fucking moral framework as the wrong false context or contextual attempt. But it's not true. We don't accept it, and it's normal to not accept false crap. So no, it isn't that we shouldn't blame her for reacting. No, you owe, if you propagated the reaction and provoked the reaction, it's your fault. Then it wasn't that you offered to clean the place, same thing happened again. You disregarded what I told you blatantly, and when I pulled your attention to it, you didn't give a shit. I said, stop, properly reattune, do give a shit, and re-cohere to what I'm telling you, and then she did it again. And then this was explained to her on fucking video. Well, how do you keep fucking up that badly? Who put cement in your juice for 50 years? What happened? You create monsters in this world when you act monstrous. Remember that, people. May you get what you deserve, everybody who's guilty. At the causal levels are the highest. Disgusting. Always, I'm not guilty, shed it off me. It's all you. That's the sick twistedness. Punish the real guilty. God help us. Now, onwards. I was verbally abused again and asked to leave. No, you were rebuked. That's not verbal abuse when you became guilty that I could no longer withhold telling you to your face that you're guilty today, and I'm informing you of this fact. That comes in the form of rebuke. It comes with negative seeming energy, but it's not negative or bad. It's good that you are shamed and rebuked. What the fuck? Physics. You're trying to rework physics. Water falls up. That's the cuckoo land of this type of woman. She then goes on to say, I offer someone else to clean your place. You declined. I declined because that is insufficient. It rides with the wrong, twisted context, and I don't accept the context that you're trying to launch it with. Get it? He's defective. Help him clean up his pee-pee and bottles. No, you fucking idiots. Then that's not going to be accepted because I don't accept the moral implication in your mind while you try to launch it energetically. That's the key. Wow. So learn morality. If you say, I'm here because I'm cleaning because I'm a piece of shit and I'm nothing, I say, yes, now we can get clean in 5 minutes. Thank you. Hi, thank you. Thank you. See, a supporter here again. Thank you. You understand? People see me, recognize me for this shit. They overhear what I'm recording and they're nodding their head in agreement. Yeah, man, you go, yeah. We're gonna take over the fucking world because we're here to wake your stupid asses up because they're sick of this shit. God bless that young lady, yeah. Okay? So continuing then. No, we're not gonna accept this thing. And very cool is that in the last 5 or so years, I'm not the only one who experienced an increase of awareness of narcissistic essence programming and the correspondences to all the misvibrations and aspects in this world physically. It seems that it's become the big wave of new realization for a lot of people in the last several or so years. Not way higher than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago and before. Really? You see? That's a major evolutionary societal wake-up. It had to come before Mashiach and right on time about. So everybody, we're all seeing the convergences of the lines coming now. Continuing. But again, she's trying to teach Mashiach, a sort of Mashiach, if you think, whatever the hell, okay? arrogant. If you believe that's Mashiach, who's your son, or potentially, that's more guilty for you. To dream to be his corrector, his butt wiper, I will fix him. Look how broken he is. He'll be your Messiah when I tell you he will be. For now, I am more Messiah. I'm smarter than the Messiah. Wow. What the fuck? Help us. Yet you can't go to one AI or sane person and have them believe one part of what the mother did is fine, that the son, what he did is morally inexcusable on the totality. So, voila, what is that? Magic? No, it's my real true God sense. Wake up, basically, right. So, she continues to write, this all happened knowing that I can't do it, and I explain my condition with the kidney. People, I'm gonna give you another secret, because she tried to come down, clean the bathroom for a while, did a decent job. Not bad, maybe 30 minutes or something, and I took a short nap, and wow, that's amazing, faster than I could ever physically move. People, Pharaoh's servants will always move faster than Pharaoh. Pharaoh's not gonna be cleaning his, you understand? If someone in his hall tries to tell Pharaoh, your room is messy again, how dare you not clean your own room? The problem isn't Pharaoh. The problem is the person in the situation who's failing to recognize the God-set paradigm of what you should be doing in the context of what's naturally existing there that you're within. That's the insanity. God, help these people. Naomi, please help. Wow, the spittingness of this disrespectful mother. Continuing. Always reframing. So there she could do it, but remember, only after we kick her out does the instinct to want to invert begin. So before I kicked her out, she was fine to help. Oh, we'll work on this, we'll solve it, no problem. After I kick her out, oh, you mistreat me, then you're bad, then, I just realized I can't help so much, in fact. It's one of those timely, my kidneys hurt, I can't do it. No, invalid. Why? Because whether you know consciously or subconsciously, there's not really, you can't help because your kidney. If you loved God and you believe you're God's servant and God came down to you in spirit through an angel or through a person who's a representative, either way, and you believe there's a real God source message, you must clean the house of Pharaoh. Whoever Pharaoh is, you make up in your mind, true or not. There's principle and the meta principle behind it, right? Whoever you owe allegiance to in life, and you believe it's backed by God, you will be running even if my kidneys are wearing out, bleeding, and I'm bleeding in the eyes and the face and the head. I will still clean for my God. Do you see? Imagine how people serve their God as in the religious capacities, all the way till the end. But I, mother of John, I do what I want. I am like this. I make up my own law, and to the end, I will always try to tell you, no, you broke this, actually you did. And all you referencing your false framework and your false universe. Sick. Continuing. So, going on, it's not that the kidney condition or not kidney condition. Bullshit. Mostly bullshit. And regardless, even if it is, what would the proper way to be? It would be first, never make wrongdoing against your son. Secondly, now that you're in good graces with your son and you feel it, the harmony's there, you then go, my son, how can we consider together that we can make it a little easier for me with my kidney? I will help and continue to help even more than my capacity, but I'm letting you know I'm having a hard time. So we could offset the capacity. And what would you want? Tell me if you would decide that we should have somebody else. And I would say, yes, I see it. I decide we should bring somebody else. I'll let you take care of that. They'll offload it for you. That'd be great. She said, thank you so much. How smart, good. See, in 5 minutes that'd be solved, and it would have been clean 2-3 weeks ago. You see that? So the real reason of why is clean or not clean now versus 2 weeks ago versus not 2 weeks ago versus not now, it's not because of the physical, and it's not because of my miscarrying the situation in any way. No, now it's clear. You see, the real causal reason is because the mother wrongfully interacted with the Pharaoh God paradigm / the disabled brain leaker. In both those cases independently, that guy's not morally obliged to be doing anything, but is entitled to the God-loving respect of people around him who love God, so they love their fellow man. Don't have to be a special Messiah. be a guy. But then if you have the special Messiah thing on top, even more. Wow. And whatever else. Continuing. Special spiritual capacity generally, that he's whatever, or childlike. And then a special king Messiah, pharaonic energy. Plus all the disablements that come with that at the physical. Because everybody knows you pull from the physical and become more spiritual. That's true also. Plus the damage, you help an older man who's got dementia or whatever else, you help me too, the same. All out of honor and fidelity. So when you don't do it, when one of Pharaoh's rogue agents, who is supposed to be there to help for him, I got brought into the highest courts to serve Pharaoh. Now that I'm here alone with Pharaoh, I'll start abusing you. I'm not cleaning your room. I will tell you. Oh, you yell at me, you're bad, Pharaoh. You're dead, number one. But if you're not dead yet, and then you want to try to play that game and run out, then it becomes right. So now that Pharaoh has a messy fucking haul, do you think he's going to get up and say, wow, I got so mistreated by that person. Now let me agree to the consequences of the mistreatment by being my own slave and start physically tending to your environment? Never. Never. Pharaoh would sooner die in his throne in a pile of his own shit than to ever show himself to show to himself or to anyone else that he will stoop for even 1 minute to do the work that somebody else owed morally to be doing, that they, by sick, twisted deviation, carried against to go the opposite direction. You see the programming problem? That's the key nuance that even a lot of men today don't realize, because men are still in the pyramid builder mode of mentality. I'm a real man, they would say, because I move the physical. But every real king pharaonic man that's awakened inside will realize that the physical comes from the spiritual first. And thereby, when you awaken to the higher dimensionality of that morality, you will not tend to the physical. And by the way, the most devious people I've ever met tend to be the tidiest. It's weird. Morality, and also the geniuses are the most messy. It's very interesting. So there's some natural correspondence there that goes into it. The real leading is, in essence, honor God and every cross framework in between, which in a sensible system also essentially places and utilizes the effect of women properly, but also all men and everything in relation to each other in a kind of slightly new and unique relationship that we've seen in the common era, basically speaking. Okay, this is really what I have to say about that. Not too bad, huh? Continuing on, then it goes on to state, when we see the apparent seeming narcissist here bearing the issue underlying, or at least the traits for sure, it seems. I explain you. So no, you don't conveniently invoke whatever excuse you want. Lady, you know how you are. If you go out on a date, you like the guy, you could be on a crutches, you'll still go for the date. If you don't like the guy, it doesn't matter that your leg healed. Maybe my butt hurts anyway, so I still won't go. I got sick today, I don't want to. You make up even if you're not sick, my eyeball's twitching. My eyelash is in the wrong corner, I gotta go. I'm kidding. It's not really the physical problem. It's that you choose to dream to try to use that to be, in effect, wrongly aligned to where you should be relative to where you should be. Do you understand that? So no, the kidney thing's rejected because you're still in the meta framing wrong. Therefore, by context, showing and revealing and exposing this as a ploy of that's just the convenient excuse of the day. It might or might not be true to some partial degree. It doesn't even matter. It's because you're daring to use it in context here. Context is decisive. We explained so many damn times already. We understand. Continue. So then she goes on to state, for many months I constantly offer you help with the cleaning of your place. You mean for many months before this whole Messiah potential revelation, whatever it is? Wow. Well, in that case, We already told you that you don't offer anything to the son who you wronged for all the previous 2, 3 plus more years of crap. So much so that we don't even meet with you. We don't talk with you without somebody present. That's how wrong this woman is and the problem position she's in. But women, I don't want to invert it. No, look at you. You don't do this. You. It's all, that's the addiction, because she has to save herself and how she looks. In her mind, at least for herself, and in the mind of others as she perceives it. Both are going to be destroyed. Remember, you cling to life, you lose it. But you are willing to give your life up, you will gain it. Jesus even said that. Wow. Amazing. But I bet it is true. Certainly is, in a large sense. Continuing, and others have said it too, especially this has been recognized, I'm sure, as well by Jewish rabbis, almost certainly. Continuing on. What else? So obviously we told her, Anthony told her many times, hey, listen, no matter what you do, see my friend John there, right? Don't come again with him offering to clean his place. Yeah, don't do that. That's going to piss him off. And I agree, it should piss him off. Don't do it. Don't do it. You hear me, Barbara? Don't do it. Basically what he said, rough paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. And she would just write back, can I have someone to clean your place? No, because you're not sorry for what you did yet. So I'm not going to accept anything from you. Oh, but my place is getting messier and it's stinkier here. Look at me. You don't feel bad that I'm in such position? A normal mother would be like, I can't wait for my baby. I can't let my baby be harmed. No. It's like exactly with Solomon with the 2 women. No, you can't cut my baby. Please, I'll even let the other woman win. No problem. Just save my baby. But here it's like, I'll let my baby be cut. No problem. I'll even do the cutting of my baby. I don't give a shit. I'm psychopathic-like seeming. Or roughly trait, half corresponding maybe. Not fully, I don't know, but whatever. It's all cluster B for sure. It's all meta cap umbrella cluster B. 100%, 1000%. Continuing. You know, it's basically, I have to do, but you never agree to it. But I shouldn't agree to it because I'm morally intact. Worshippers of the physical will go, I'm stupid, I'm a donkey, start slapping me on the head, I'm a sheep, tell me where to go, and now I'm going to clean my place, now you're going to clean my place. That's what my mom actually believes is what I am. What? But that's all of women's broken vision when looking at any man. To one degree or another. You don't see God, you see, oh, something that doesn't please me, I will be the controller and dominator over him. Wrong. And hell is coming soon on earth. Wow, is it going to be paradise after that purging? Continuing. Some people think I'm wrong, but no. Everything I've spoken comes to pass. Wonder why? Pretty much entirely, at least almost or entirely. Continuing. So, no, you're wrong for insisting on forcing domination, because if you imagine a situation where somebody who's morally aggrieved because, let's say, someone came in and robbed me, and then the robber comes in and says, I robbed your house last week, now I see you still got a mess in there when I look in through your window with my illegal view, and I left a camera in there. Maybe it's even worse. So I'm telling you, you're gonna clean your house now. I'm telling you, you're gonna do exactly what I say. Oh, no, I'm not. You're fucking the robber. You go to jail, stupid ass. Right. You don't take... The back principle is, I don't take influence from those who have already wronged me and not paid or repented. Right? That'd be submitting to my destroyer, submitting to my dominator over my own self. Why would I do that? Am I a slave? The fuck? But if I'm a king, I naturally would avert that. Over 1,000 years, I'd rather have eagles peck my face and eyes out forever. It's more comforting than to 1 minute to bow to even my own mother if she's morally twisted. That's God. You can't fake that shit. That's pure God. There's no psychological code for that. There's not a diagnosis. That's fucking hyper moral vigilance. That's literally a walking prophet. That's God. It's just new understanding of how to interface with reality. But it's the correct one all along. That's the other thing. So that's why we don't accept domination from the robber of the house. That's why you don't accept domination from even your own mother if she has wronged you and she's found guilty morally and she's not repentant. Then you're the same like that robber. So I'm not going to just do what you told, because I'd be sending you the wrong message that I somehow accept what you did. Aha, see? That's why. So, okay. But you didn't bow to me, so that's why the house must stay messy. If God ordained it, that I'm also already in position of God, Pharaoh, slash damaged, and the third category said, the brain damage, whatever, allocated to elderly slash anyone who's been in any kind of trauma at any point in their life, whatever age, slash the newborn baby, all along the same axis of how the rest of the world manifolds with respect to them. You see that? Higher dimensional understanding. Then what do you bring across? You must see that. We continue to read along here. It goes on to state, she attempts more haughtily to state, because of your decision to decline help, your place is in terrible condition. No, I'm supposed to morally decline. Do you see my obligation? So true God-man, when he appears, he actually loses free will. This is very profound. And one of my revelations is going to be that free will is non-existent. You don't actually have it. You think you have it, but you don't have it. It's a flaw in the religious teachings. But I could prove it with a 3-minute sit-down in front of anybody I talk to. It's one of the most unsettling and mind-blowing things one can hear. And it's because it's so obvious once I say it, it cracks your reality. And then I have you, and then the new program begins. It's like a virus that spreads. So I hide it. I actually keep it suppressed. I don't tell most people. It's like a Matrix fucking mind blow. We continue. What then? I'm morally locked to not accept, that's me serving God better, your decision to be terrible such that you estranged yourself from your own son is the reason why the morally obliged cleaning of your physically disabled son's place couldn't be orchestrated and fulfilled by you. You're the root reason of the wrongness of the life you see become manifest. Do you understand what a fragmentation is now as opposed to integration? It is the detachment of moral facet from physical aspect. Wow, love the God, people. You need to lovingly merge. Fuck. Whereas one, it's all going to be one fabric soon everywhere. Continuing, we must dominate all the world planet. Right? But according to Broken Woman's vision again, I never abandoned you. I was here helping you always and offered help you needed. Offending man, and then while unrepentant trying to dominate him, going, now how can I help your defective ass, is not actually good. That's more morally monstrous and defective. It's you both declining how wrong you were about the original things and then trying to wrongly frame yourself as the savior they need because they're so defective. So see how good this mommy is? That's the sickness of it. Added more. So obvious. Pure God truth spilling here. Continuing. She goes on to state, I essentially paid your rent, paid for your food, utilities, and many things more for years. I'm going to pause right here and offer an extremely amazing hint. Because this actually has been one of the most interesting social experiments of all time. Yes, in some kind of sense, it's a moral experiment or social experiment. Not so much that it's an experiment, it's also naturally what would happen anyway in any moral paradigm where the players or half the players are morally aware enough to hold down the positioning of what the situation needs to be. And when you're dealing with the moral one on my end, in mix with the monster on her end, it becomes this situation. What is it? I told her years ago, I said, firstly, you must not be guilty of offense against another human being. That's all God's law all over the planet anyway by default. Okay? When you don't ruin your relationship with the other person, whoever it is, when you ruin it with your own family and son, that's even worse, right? So essentially, if you don't ruin the relationship with your son, the benefit and access you get is to be the involved party that you can be, whereby then even further, if it also happens to be the case that there's something wrong with him, it's a sad deal of some kind, and there needs to be some kind of help of some kind, poor guy, you arise out of compassion and say, and I'm happy and I'm honored to be a part of this help for this person. who I'm in really great terms with. We're like the best relationship ever. We never argue. So we're naturally trusting and loving of each other the way family should be. And anybody generally across in life, in relations of any kind. So then, with that, I then correctly identify, okay, here's the exact brain damage, here's the exact nature. This was known 2-3 years ago already with sufficient detail. I simply said, here's exactly what you need to do. I'm the one in the brain damaged position, so, and I already tried also anyway physically on my own, just for myself to do it. But people don't listen to me also because it just doesn't jive. They hear me, there's something about my presentation they don't like. God hides the truth, ironically, where the formal outer presentation is more warped. I know what I sound like. Don't get me wrong. That's where the highest truth is. It's where it seems like it's opposite, like I'll never believe it could be there. It's the most there. Right? It's like one of those cases where you get the autistic geniuses and they like look so autistic. You're like, that guy's just an idiot. But he's like the most math genius ever. So he actually has the correct insight into everything and has new advancements in the math field. You're like, wow. But he looks retarded. No, yes, but no. You see, that's the thing. Don't hang on my unusual thing. Yeah, ought to fuck your senses up while I'm actually sitting secretly. God's truth is actually here. You suck because you can't recognize it. Your fault though. You see, because you can't pass the test, which is to overlook the outer appearance. Because you're also being tested on that too. I purposely lean into comfortably to keep testing you. I'll yell louder at you just to see, like, are you pure? Are you pure? I'll find out right now. You're gonna pay now. You're gonna pay. No, good. I said it like that. So let's see if she can handle being with God, because that's a strict God test. If any part of you is corrupt, you're going to start fighting me now. And that's what Satan does. He's the tester. You understand? He's the prosecutor. Remember, the second messianic potentiation, if you regard Jesus as the first one, and I'm not even going to largely preach or teach that, because from my standpoint, it's kind of it's moot or whatever. It doesn't matter. But from the secular and Christian standpoint, if they regarded Christ, Jesus as the first, then Christ, whoever blank is the second, he has different traits completely. The Orthodox Christian Church teaches this too, as I'm aware, and this is also known otherwise. So one of the things that's known is that that second guy, the different one, they correspond, that energy, particularly comes if the timing is now. There's a question whether the Jews are worthy versus not worthy, but it's regarded if it seems they're not worthy, there's a certain manifestation that looks a certain way that comes with Mashiach ben Yosef. And that corresponds to, believe it or not, Antichrist. That also corresponds as the Jews even recognize the root soul of that Messiah is actually Satan. We just openly, that's true, we just say that. Sounds controversial and crazy. Why? Satan is the prosecuting agent. And you didn't have any prosecution on this earth sufficient because you had excessive chesed, excessive grace. That's why your lives are shit. Because this was a 6,000-year test to show you even grace will be forsaken. Now I can't help but bring pure, strict justice, which actually ends up facilitating the ideal state of grace between yourselves, because of the experience and what you learn and how your nature's got adjusted as a result. That's basically right. There's a little more that needs to be said, but that's close enough for now. So wow, unbelievable insight, right? Not that crazy. People get that who are in the know. I'm just repeating things largely that are already grasped at. We continue. So obviously it's not true that she never abandoned me. No, the moment you offend me and you deny that you offended me, you've abandoned me because you've hurt me dignity-wise. That's the same like cutting my face with a knife now. That's the same like doing that. Man knows that. Man feels that. That's why even people have preached about this, even from the Christian tradition. I remember overlooking a YouTube video. Guy says, they've done studies. Woman comes, offends a man. His heartbeat goes up to 99 beats per minute. He's all fucking, fucking, how dare you, fucking, I am God, And woman's heart rate, when a man comes and offends her, nothing, hardly changes. Though she becomes more twisted and demonic and will not comply to God. Shepherding. What the fuck? Do you see the problem of nature? God encoded it this way because you will never find resolution until you have one king who knows what he's doing, who simply says, okay, all those instances where anything that looks like that happens, we will kill and cut off your heads immediately. Oh my God, your whole fucking reality and the way you're interfacing and interact with each other is going to change immediately. You're going to figure out real nice and quick how to love each other. You fucking kidding me? Then you really will know love. And then later on, it's like, kind of like, we'll thank you later. It's like, yeah, we never would have done this for ourselves, but we actually are living closer to heaven on earth and more acceleratingly because we get what it is. And now it's like in our normal senses revived. Oh, like 2-3 generations later especially, we'll be like, we can't even identify what any of that old crap was. We don't even know what that is. Those are grandparents and great-grandparents were in those old ages before pre-Messiah. This is just so easy and normal now. You can't even dream of treating anyone like the way this mom is treating the son here. But this is going to be in a fucking museum, I would hope. God willing, please bring it as quick as possible, Hashem. Something seems in the right. If you got prophetic perception, I feel a little positive assessment. Enough for now. So again, you did abandon, and they're painting yourself as I'm this princess, I'm the best, I did all this. What about the paying the rent? Oh yeah, that. At least it was good that she provided this aspect of what was morally owed. But I'm going to give you another one. It was given as a two-parter, a twofer. Number one, it's morally owed, but she doesn't recognize that. It's an optics thing. If I don't pay his rent, that he's on the street, then I look potentially bad, and that's enough to have people look at me and going, hey, what the fuck? So in a subconscious way, it's just her wanting to avert problem-looking situations. So she sits there going, okay, I'll financially dominate his situation, but keep this in mind. Now, as I said earlier, if she's in full integration with me in a parallel universe where she's not morally guilty, then you love your son and everything's fine. In 10 minutes, call the radiologist, call that imaging center. Okay, got it. Now, say, we have this problem. We need this custom scan. Confirm it with the technologist. Transferring over to the technologist now. He's on. Oh, God, custom order. We'll see what the radiologist can do. You then talk to the radiologist. Hey, here's the brief. Check out these papers. It's a custom problem. This explains why we need it done this way instead of the usual brain scan. I see, Miss Winslow. Let me read this. And then, okay. Right there, you have maybe a 18% chance that any one of those who you approach like that will accept. So you, like sales, you'll try 6-7 times. You got the one. Okay, took one afternoon. You see that? I'm testing your stupid asses. Will you serve God correctly? I'm sitting here telling you what to do, telling you what the fucking will is. If you do that, all your problems become solved much faster than if you try to solve it your way. Oh, because once they fucking sit me down in the MRI with the pineapple juice and do it exactly the way I say, I guarantee you that with relentless scans and rescans as attempts, if needed, multiple times, that I'm sitting there and I'm going to sit there half the day or revisit if I have to or after hours or whatever. I keep doing this. It won't take many scans, and I'm almost a large chance it's going to be the first try. You're going to find fluid going into my skull, which then by deduction enables only a fistula and a gastric tear at the throat, exactly in that position where we find, visualize through this video showing the pumped fluid going there. Oh my God, so we see the trajectory. It's located right here. You got it. That's, oh my God, diagnose this man with a food emboli in the brain. That's neural short-circuiting. Oh my God, first ever recorded of this case that's not found at autopsy, because this is the first one we found where we caught it before he died eventually of this. Oh my God, he was with this for 5 years. It's a miracle. Oh my God, but hey, everybody, Naomi and Mom and anyone else listening, how long would it take to do that? 1 day, 2 days, and then another few days for the talking and special deals and backroom deals, because it has to be a halfway backroom deal. Call whoever. Call every imaging center on earth. I said, you do that, you bring God's will closer to earth. then they're going to say, oh my God, we diagnosed it. Sir, we will have you at any hospital. We will do any surgery you want. I'll tell them maybe I won't do surgery today or even tomorrow, but we have diagnosis on paper. Yeah, dude, you're lucky to be alive. You're halfway talking. I said, no, sometimes I can't even talk. That when I put food into the thing and I pump it back, I stop being able to talk. Oh my God. But then they say, but when you don't, and they're going to study me on this special case. They'll also see from the brain scan, my brain is a different shape and size. Wow, I promise you that too, that'll be found, or something like this. Skull and all that. But my mom's seen the skull size change anyway, so they're just gonna see the same thing, or whatever, in the pictures in the video already show this already, before, we don't even need that MRI for that. It's done with. It's already been perceived correctly, accurately, as evidence that it's really happening, it's that. Never diagnosed on paper, yet existing as a real life condition with evidence that people understand it is true. So there you have a disparity already between evidence on paper, diagnostic and medical, and what is actually happening as understood in life. Now, you follow God and what I say, in 6 days, you access that. As soon as that happens, guess what? Magic. Hey, if there's a security issue, watch this. If I'm not Messiah, but there's a security issue and a brain hole, I got a magic pass for life. That's called sad poor guy. His brain trauma of that lasting type and active type, of course, automatic disability. So you're entitled to having enough income so that you can eat and live. Ideally, if that's even true on paper, people are figuring that's not even necessarily true in actuality. Very sad, but it helps most of the way, or much of the way. Okay, if not everything. So then you're fine. So now mom, because that happened, she pays from family funds much, much less. If hardly anything at all is needed, or very little. Oh my God, so she solved her financial outpouring issue in 5 minutes.